Been some limited shutoffs. CEO Lorraine Cochran Johnson says they haven't rolled out anything widespread. That's even as the county deals with numerous delinquencies.
We have delinquent $104,719,076.41.
She says they'll start aggressive measures next month to start resolving outstanding bills.
If you owe a water bill, please come forward.
Commissioners recently approved a water rate increase of 10% annually over the next decade. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Thank you, Austin. A mix of clouds and sun today with an afternoon high of 81, and some pop-up showers and storms are possible this afternoon, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. And then a big warm-up is on the way. She'll have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast coming up at 12:05. A fire at the Madison at Brookhaven Apartments on Claremont Road resulted in fire damage to 2 units on an upper floor. No injuries are reported. DeKalb Fire Captain Jason Daniels telling WSB a nearby water main break did not impact crews putting out the flames.
Fortunately, there were no issues with the water at that location. We had several crews on scene very quickly that were able to extinguish the flames.
And Captain Daniels says some additional units suffered water damage, 10 people receiving help from the Red Cross this afternoon. And investigations underway into the shooting of an 11-year-old boy at an apartment complex along Hank Aaron Drive here in Atlanta. He's in critical condition this noon. So far, investigators are not saying what led up to that shooting or if they're searching for any suspects. A North Georgia teenager whose immigration case is in the national spotlight is speaking out today.
Her traffic charges have been dismissed by Dalton police, but Jimena Arias Cristobal is still being held in an ICE detention center. She tells CBS Mornings by phone it's painful for her family.
I think the hardest part is being ripped away from each other.
Her sister is an American citizen but defends Jimena and her parents who came to the U.S. 15 years ago.
They might have came here illegally, but they came here to fulfill their dreams.
Cristobal's father is also in custody and faces deportation. Jennifer Perry, 95.5 WSB.
A protest is planned for later today outside the Georgia Board of Regents meeting. Students and Cobb Democratic leaders demanding Kennesaw State University reverse a decision to do away with several degree programs there.
Kennesaw State recently announced plans to scrap the Black Studies major along with philosophy and technical communications. A school official cites low enrollment and degree completion rates, but says current students will be able to finish their programs. Some student groups argue the cuts are politically motivated, and Cobb County Democratic Committee Chair Essence Johnson calls the move an attack on diversity, equity, and the very principles of higher education. Students, Cobb Democrats, and the NAACP plan a rally from noon to 2 outside the Board of Regents headquarters on Washington Street near the state capitol. Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
Overdose deaths are down nearly 27% here in the United States, according to released data from the CDC today. Here in Georgia, those deaths were down just over 24%, with 1,984 people dying from an overdose. Most of the deaths are related to fentanyl, CDC saying despite the overall improvements, overdose remains the leading cause of deaths for those aged 18 to 44 years old. Well, don't be surprised if you see all kinds of emergency vehicles surrounding the Georgia Aquarium later today.
It's training simulated to be as real as possible.
You will see large vehicles such as SWAT trucks, fire apparatus, as well as ambulances.
Atlanta Police Public Affairs head Shada Spike says there may be loud sounds and people who look badly injured, but it's all part of the training done at a real location, not at the new Public Safety Training Center.
By going to a real location allows us to get acquainted with the facility.
4 years ago, the aquarium hosted an active shooter scenario. No word what it'll be this time. Steve Summers, 95.5 WSB.
President Trump is in Qatar for the second stop of his 4-day trip to the Middle East. Mary Bruce traveling with the president.
Trump this morning marking a major shift in U.S. policy towards Syria, meeting new Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara alongside Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, with President Erdogan of Turkey joining by phone.
With the support of leaders in this room and the great leaders you are, we are currently exploring normalizing relations with Syria's new government.
The face-to-face coming just hours after Trump announced he would lift sanctions on Syria, now that the Assad regime has crumbled.
And President Trump is the first American president to meet with Syria's president in more than 2 decades. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow right now is up 23 points at 42,164. NASDAQ is also up more than 0.5%, and the S&P is also in positive territory. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center with a look at your roads.
And some better news for the lunch hour heading northbound into downtown. 75-85 northbound, that earlier crash at Freedom Parkway, exit 248, now on the right shoulder. Still slow back to University Avenue, but that will start to improve. On the south side, we still had that construction on the crash cleanup, I should say. The 285 eastbound outer loop ramp to 75 southbound there in Clayton County. That ramp is blocked. And heading up into Buckhead for lunch, you got right lane construction, Peachtree Road northbound at Farr Road. Alex Williams, 95. 95.5 WSB.
The 5-day forecast sponsored by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of Atlanta.
Partly to mostly cloudy through the afternoon, high 81. Watching for pop-up showers and thunderstorms through the course of the afternoon into the evening hours. Fizzling out after midnight, lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, high 87. Even hotter on Friday, partly cloudy skies with highs in the upper 80s to low 90s. Another round of heavy rain and thunderstorms for Saturday, high 85. Sunday, mostly cloudy, high 83.
Cloudy and 75 degrees in Midtown Atlanta. More news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Okay, friends, it's the 5K a day bonus blitz. Your noon keyword is WISH, W-I-S-H, WISH. Enter the keyword WISH into the WSB Radio app or at WSBRadio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword, win $1,000. The keyword is WISH, W-I-S-H. Don't forget, if you get a call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, answer it. Could be us telling you you won $1,000. The keyword is WISH. Good luck.
Greetings, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. Glad to have you with me today. The phone number, 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, would absolutely love to have you. Text the word Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, all that fantastic, amazing stuff. We've got to begin with the Republican budget deal because, the panic, the fighting, the disarray, it's all there on display for everyone. Wasn't intending that to rhyme, but it did. We're already out with the complete meltdown from the Democrats. Hakeem Jeffries is in full "we're all gonna die" mode.
House Minority Leader, Democratic Congressman Hakeem Jeffries of New York. It's good to have you on, sir. Tell us about those cuts. How will Americans be feeling them?
Well, good morning. House Democrats are working hard through the night, both on the Energy and Commerce Committee and the Ways and Means Committee, to push back against this GOP tax scam, where they are trying to enact the largest Medicaid cut in American history, north of $700 billion. And independent observers have confirmed that if the Republicans are successful in passing this GOP tax scam, then approximately 14 million people will actually lose their health coverage. Hospitals will close, nursing homes will shut down. This really is a matter of life and death, and it's all being done to try to enact massive tax cuts for MAGA billionaire donors like Elon Musk. It's shameful.
Standard Democratic talking points, they say the same thing. People are going to die. So Americans died over the rollback in net neutrality. Americans died over President Trump's 2018 tax cuts. Americans are going to die over every time Republicans do anything. The Democratic talking point now is we're all going to die. We're all going to die. Actually, probably not. Now, here is what we know the Republicans want to do. They want to impose work requirements in Medicaid. Apparently, people will die by going to work. So if you are above the poverty line, but still eligible for Medicaid, there will be a work requirement. You'll have to get a job or be actively seeking a job in order to qualify for Medicaid. This, you should notice, Barack Obama's own plan. Barack Obama and Joe Biden both supported this idea. It actually doesn't go far enough to fix the problem, but it's as far as Republican leaders are comfortable going, and yet we're still being told they're all going to die. All going to die. You know, I told you yesterday that one of the things Republicans intend to do is roll back the Green New Deal. Congressman Chip Roy from Texas actually pinged me yesterday and said, careful, 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 careful. You got to look at the actual language. I'm actually kind of outraged by this. So to get Republican moderates to go along with it, Republican leaders say they're going to roll back the Green New Deal. But what they're actually going to do is sunset provisions from the Green New Deal 4 years from now. 4 years after passage. So for the next 4 years, there will still be provisions of the Green New Deal to buy off voters in swing states and buy off members of Congress to help get it done. It's kind of garbage. It's kind of garbage. Likewise, the Republicans, they're not going to go far enough on Medicaid, but they are going to put in work requirements. There will be some reforms. They apparently have figured out a way to manage the no tax on tips deal. The dirty little secret, however, is they think it's going to wind up being so unmanageable, they're going to allow the IRS to come up with regulations on it. So they're going to bless it, but then they're going to let the IRS be the ones to regulate the snot out of it, driving up the cost for anyone who actually wants to take care of it. Oh my gosh. It's going to be a convoluted mess. Now, part of this you do have to understand is the grand ambitions and the room left, the margin of error for what Donald Trump wants. He's got lots of things he wants, and there's only so much they can do. Now, House Ways and Means Committee Chair Jason Smith, he's a Republican from Missouri, told reporters Wednesday there's only about $50 billion available to increase the SALT deduction. House Republicans would triple the SALT deduction to $30,000 and put a new $400,000 income limit on the write-off. But a hardcore contingent of 5 New York, New Jersey, and California Republicans have called the proposal wildly insufficient and threatened to withhold their votes. Smith told reporters he'll do whatever is necessary to deliver on the tax bill, but warned that there was limited presence for a SALT deal given the other priorities. Mike Johnson, the speaker, is facing internal pressure on multiple fronts and can only lose 3 Republican lawmakers on the party line vote. Democrats aren't going to vote for it at all. There's going to be a briefing at 2:30 today for members to ask questions and air grievances before the vote in the Budget Committee Friday, the Rules Committee next week. 3 Republicans were granted anonymity to confirm the meeting. It's going to be difficult to placate the SALT Republicans who would rather kill the deal and benefit from the deal the tax cuts going away altogether. Now, here's the other problem. Ron Johnson in the Senate, senator from Wisconsin, says he doesn't see how this passes the Senate. He says the big, beautiful bill is called the Titanic. I think it's going down because I think I have enough colleagues in the Senate that this resonates with to say, yeah, we've got a return to a reasonable pre-pandemic spending. Johnson's comment indicates that even if the House is able to secure the votes to pass its plan, it's going to struggle to clear the Senate because the Senate wants to return to 2019 spending levels. The senior senator from Wisconsin has been openly critical of his House colleagues' approach to the party line spending legislation, which aims to extend the tax cuts as well as a bevy of other Republican domestic priorities. Instead, he made a case for passing a series of smaller bills, including a clean, permanent extension of the 2017 tax cuts and a short-term increase to the debt ceiling. Trump rejected the approach earlier this year, throwing his weight behind one big, beautiful bill that the House Republicans convinced him to do. The Speaker says it's a mistake and said Congress needs to pass a simple, rational tax system that helps to calm uncertainty. The whole tariff, the trade war has injected enormous uncertainty and instability, Mike Johnson says. We got to calm that down. I'm sorry, that's Ron Johnson saying that, not Speaker Johnson. Democrats, well, they want to roll back the tariffs. The Democrats don't want to do anything to cut any spending, and the Democrats don't really matter here, though. Democrats don't matter. But this is going to be a convoluted mess to a degree, in large part because they just don't understand how to get anything through the Senate with the Byrd rule in one massive comprehensive bill. Meredith Hill over at Politico says House GOP hardliners are livid over a move by the leadership to delay implementation of new work requirements for several years. It's one of the thorniest and politically explosive pieces of the mega bill. And ultra-conservatives, mega-ultra-conservatives are demanding changes in order to support the legislation. So they go from ultra-conservatives to hardliners. Hardliners want to move up the start date for work requirements, which would begin in 2028. or 2029 rather. Mike Johnson's trying to navigate far-right demands before the final vote and facing strong opposition from centrists to many of the asks, including the push to move up the start date for Medicaid. The moderates are scared of moving up the Medicaid time. The moderates don't want to touch it at all. There's a level of happy compromise that I suppose is necessary. What a mess. I don't envy Mike Johnson at all. He is the dog that caught the car. He's getting run over by both sides now. There's a story in the Wall Street Journal today that there's growing distrust of Mike Johnson. And some members of Congress come forward and said the growing distrust of Johnson is just the political reality of that. He's got moderates and conservatives who disagree, and he's trying to keep them all happy, and he's not making promises. But when he talks to each side, they're hearing him make promises, even though he's not making promises. They're just hearing it and insisting, oh, you said it, it must be true. He's trying to find a happy middle that everybody can work with, but it's becoming a real hard problem for Johnson to be able to get all these guys to work together. I do not envy the Speaker of the House in this. Don't envy him at all. Meanwhile, again, I find it to be the funniest, one of the most endearing things about Donald Trump is they're scared to ask the president's input because every time they do, he wants more tax cuts. I think that's the greatest thing about Donald Trump. Don't say I don't say anything nice about Donald Trump. I just find this to be refreshing. Every time they go to him and say, sir, we need your help getting people in line, he's like, hey, I thought of another tax to get rid of. We should be listening to him. The problem is we got to deal with the Byrd rule in the Senate and reconciliation. We can't all get this stuff working together. It's going to be a problem. They just can't figure out how to put it all together. And keep everybody happy. You got to keep the moderates happy with Medicaid and the Green New Deal. You got to keep the conservatives happy with cutting some Medicaid and the Green New Deal. They're trying to make the cuts, but push the cuts off long enough they can be undone by a future Congress. And let's remember, they're going to go through this all over again with another reconciliation package. It's just a mess. Y'all, I think the House is going to come up with a plan, and they're going to get it done by Memorial Day. Magic Mike Johnson oftentimes is able to pull stuff out of a hat and get this stuff done. I think that they're going to be able to figure out a path in the House. But I don't believe it's going to be able to pass the Senate. I think the Senate wants to break it apart into multiple pieces. They've been saying that's the most practical solution forever, is to break it apart. The Senate Republicans want to bring back the spending to 2029 or 2019 levels, which means even more cuts, and they want to get rid of the Green New Deal. There's actually more Republicans in the Senate that want to get rid of the Green New Deal than there are in the House. And in the House, they can only lose 3 Republicans without sabotaging the whole thing. So they're going to have to come up with a mediocre plan in the House to get it to the Senate. The Senate's going to have to fix it. But then there's a question as to whether or not the House will pass what the Senate does. And that's going to require Donald Trump to get involved and strong-arm people. And here's the problem. There are problems with the overall package, and there are problems creeping up in polling for the president in swing districts. And that provides an incentive for blue state Republicans worried about re-election to stand up to the president. Blue state Republicans can say, if I defy the president, that's going to help me look independent to voters in my district, and they might re-elect me. That's the problem he's got to contend with some of these guys. It's going to be a mess. We're on the verge of making President Trump's tax cuts permanent. The biggest problem, however, is we've got Republicans from New York, New Jersey, and California who are willing to kill the whole thing to restore the complete unlimited SALT deduction, state and local tax deduction. House leaders, the Budget Committee, the Ways and Means Committee say it's impossible to get a deal done that gives them what they want. And they're saying they would rather kill everything because they'll get it back when the tax cuts expire. So taxes go up on you and me, but go down for wealthy people in New York, New Jersey, and California. They're happy with it. It's a bad look for them. They're going to need to sacrifice something. Your voice is going to need to be heard. Congress, well, it's time for them to get a move on. They can't even rescind the DOGE wasteful spending stuff, and yet they're trying to do this.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1220 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Crash heading into Midtown has been on the right shoulder, but right now they're holding the right lane so the tow trucks can do their work. 85 southbound below Georgia 400, right near where the Beaver Spring connector ramps in. So a few brake lights back to Georgia 400. Elsewhere, you still have that crash cleanup on the south side, blocking the 285 east outer loop ramp to I-75 south. Put a little extra pressure on I-675 south. There's a lot of people using that to make their way into Stockbridge. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off. And for UPS shipping, add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Okay, friends, it's the 5K a day bonus blitz. Your noon keyword is WISH. W-I-S-H, WISH. Enter the keyword WISH into the WSB Radio app or at WSBRadio.com/cash. You have until 12:30 p.m. to enter the keyword. Win $1,000. The keyword is WISH. W-I-S-H. Don't forget, if you get a call after 12:30 from a number you don't recognize, answer it. Could be us telling you you won $1,000. The keyword is WISH. Good luck.
Welcome to Window Wisdom with North Georgia Replacement Windows. Today, we're talking with the experts about Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows. Ted Kirk and Jonathan Cullum, owners of North Georgia Replacement Windows.
What's the difference in price shopping versus making an investment when it comes to shopping for windows?
If you're just price shopping, you will likely end up with an inferior product and installation, and your windows will likely need to be replaced again. With your investment in Infinity fiberglass windows, you get a superior product and replace your windows with windows you'll never need to replace.
With all the different home styles in Georgia, how does the Infinity window match up?
Designed by a wood window architect at Marvin, Infinity fiberglass windows fit the look of your home like traditional wood windows, but don't rot. There's also less window frame, so they appeal to contemporary homeowners too. Less frame equals more light and bigger views.
What about the warranty on the Infinity fiberglass windows?
Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows are the only premium window with a limited lifetime warranty. Backed by a company that's been in business for over 100 years, North Georgia Replacement Windows also has a lifetime service warranty.
So, Jonathan, how does someone find out more about the Infinity fiberglass windows? What's the process?
We're the only authorized retailer in Georgia for the Infinity fiberglass windows, where we can provide a free in-home consultation and proposal with no gimmicks.
Jonathan and Ted, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, experience, and expertise. Right now at North Georgia Replacement Windows, it's time for stars, stripes, and special savings. You'll save up to 20% off your entire project, plus up to 12 months no interest, no payments. That's right, up to 20% off your entire project, plus a special financing offer, up to 12 months no interest, no payments. Visit our beautiful new showroom in Alpharetta and check out all the details on these special offers at ngwindows.com. ngwindows.com.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
At Rocco's European Garage, we take pride in providing full service and repair for any Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, Land Rover, or European vehicle. Hey, this is Rocco, and visit one of our 6 locations for top-notch customer service that includes clear upfront pricing, customer approval prior to us beginning work, and a 3-day appointment window to get you back on the road quicker. Your vehicle is fixed right the first time, and we offer shuttle service for more convenience. Always at a better value than the dealership. Visit any of our 6 locations at Rocco's European Garage.
A company that has been trusted in Atlanta for over 25 years has already done their hometown homework, like having the very best people, fair, honest pricing, exceptional customer service, and a focus on high-quality work. That's us. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage, Entry Doors, and Windows. Sometimes new isn't better, like out-of-town home improvement companies invading Atlanta with their inflated pricing and subpar work. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 Seasons Garages.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects, now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
You may not agree with him, but he tells you the truth. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
Greetings, conversationalists. It is Erick Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be very happy to have you. I'm going to not use profanity. I am on the radio, but I'm just kind of flabbergasted by this. Absolutely flabbergasted. The House Republicans, it is the account House GOP, the Republican conference, led by Lisa McClain, Chairwoman Lisa McClain, has put out this tweet this morning. We need to get Americans off the sidelines. We need to get Americans off the sidelines. That is the House Republican tweet. We need to get Americans off the sidelines. I'm sorry, get yourselves off the sidelines. You can't even pass the Elon Musk Doge rescission package. You can't pass tax cuts. You got to give a sop to blue state Republicans, bribe them to get them to help the rest of us get a tax cut. You're not doing anything. You are the least effective Congress in the last 200 years. I'm not making that up. This Congress has passed less legislation in the first 100 days of Congress than any Congress in the last 200 years. And you want Americans to get off the sidelines? Who the heck do you think you are? You get off the sidelines. You do your job. You House Republicans, pass some legislation. Stop telling me, it's going to be filibuster to the Senate. Let the Senate filibuster it. Do your job, pass the legislation, cut the government, cut spending, give us the tax cuts, and stop telling us to get off the sidelines. I want you off the sidelines. I want you fighting for cuts. I want you rescinding the spending. I want you cutting the Green New Deal. And you know what your plan is? Your plan to cut Joe Biden's Green New Deal and your tax cut plan is to claim you're cutting it, but push the cuts off for 4 years. I don't appreciate being lectured by the House Republicans to get Americans off the sidelines when they themselves are hiding. They won't even show up at town halls because they're afraid of the progressives showing up and yelling at them. Let them yell. Marjorie Taylor Greene handled them effectively. Yes, MTG handled the protesters effectively. Why can't the rest of you, instead of telling us to get off the sidelines, you get off the sidelines first? Now, got to tell you about Hillsdale College because they are offering a series of free courses that you should take. ErickForHillsdale.com is the website, ERICK, ErickForHillsdale.com. You go to Hillsdale, you take these classes, and you get them. You get a certificate of completion at the end from Hillsdale. You take the capitalism course. The House Republican should be required to take the course on capitalism. They're video lectures done by Hillsdale's best faculty. You do it at your own pace. At the end, you get the certificate of completion. They're completely free. We've got 40 to choose from: math, economics, chemistry, literature, the English language, history, politics, philosophy. Surely there's a subject you want to get smarter about. Hillsdale helps you. There's a great one on C.S. Lewis, by the way, one on Shakespeare as well. ErickForHillsdale.com, ERICK, ErickForHillsdale.com. Go sign up today. Take it at no charge. Get the certificate of completion. Build a relationship with Hillsdale College at Erick, ERICK, ErickForHillsdale.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. Happening right now, a search is on for a teenager accused of shooting and killing his stepfather in Covington. The Newton County Sheriff's Office tells us that a 16-year-old, Jaden Daniel, allegedly shot 41-year-old David Gay on Avery Drive. Daniel fled the scene in an SUV belonging to Gay. It was later found at Denny Dobbs Park. Daniel is considered armed and dangerous. Anybody with information being asked to call 911. Your weather for today, partly to mostly cloudy, pop-up showers and storms this afternoon, and a high of 81, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. DeKalb County CEO is pushing back on claims that the county is not working with low-income residents to help them pay their water bills. Lorraine Cochran-Johnson says the county is owed more than $100 million from delinquent bills.
We cannot help you if you do not present yourself and you do not substantiate your condition.
And she says that they have started disconnecting some customer service, but only after multiple attempts to contact them about their overdue bills. Now, this comes after the county's decision earlier this year to raise rates by 10% annually over the next decade. Today is the day. All items sent to Governor Kemp's desk from the recent legislative session have to be signed or vetoed by midnight tonight. He's already signed dozens of bills into law, some still to be considered. Expanded acceptance of digital IDs, the inclusion of pets in protective orders with domestic abuse cases, and a proposal limiting lawsuit liability for rideshare services that would reduce fares for riders. Anything that is not signed or vetoed automatically would become law. This is new this afternoon. The Attorney General has named a new interim U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia. Attorney General Pamela Bondi has appointed Theodore Hertzberg to that position. It's 12:32.
It's Eric Erickson here. Every single day now, I deal with a malicious request to click a link. My daughter the other day got a text message some of you have probably gotten. Click on it and pay your toll, and it's just a scam. All these things keep happening. They're preying upon the young, senior citizens, and you and me. But there's good news. Vision Computer is here to help you. If you have their managed service, you're never alone, and in just 15 seconds, expert tech support is at your fingertips, ready to protect you from online threats, scams, and computer problems. And you don't have to take my word for it. We're a Vision Computer household, but they've got thousands of 5-star reviews beyond my household reviews, but I'd give them 5 stars too. They've got thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews because they're simply the best. Call them at 404-COMPUTE today or visit them online at visioncomputers.com, because when it comes to your security, you can't afford to wait. Vision will take care of you. Tell them I sent you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com.
Novelist Robert Louis Stevenson said, "Sooner or later, we all sit down to a banquet of consequences." He's exactly right. Every decision, every action, every word comes with consequences. Pretending they don't hurts you in the long run. Make your move now, before the banquet. Confess what you need to confess and ask God for his forgiveness and help. This is Tom Gray, and This Stuff Matters.
ThisStuffMatters.net.
Listen up, because women have long waited for the world to recognize the importance of our health.
Northside Hospital goes beyond "we hear you" to "we're out here with you," because women deserve more than open ears.
They deserve open doors, and 1 ounce of action is worth 1,000 words.
Northside is rolling up our sleeves and getting to work for you.
This is a house call. Heard. Learn more at northside.com/heard.
Heavy rain can significantly impact your septic system by saturating the soil and causing backups in your home. I'm Shannon, owner of Scorpion Septic. We can help. My licensed, insured, experienced team responds 24/7 with upfront pricing and high-quality work.
Take the sting out of septic service with Scorpion Septic, where there is never a pump-out charge with your repair. Details online.
ScorpionSepticServices.com. Live team coverage of traffic and weather, Alex Williams.
Better news on the south side here. Units picking up the last few cones from this closure of the 285 East outer loop ramp to I-75 there in Clayton County. That ramp is now passable. No need for an alternate there. Crash lingering in the right shoulder, not narrow right shoulder, part of the right lane, 85 southbound below Georgia 400, causing a tap of the brakes heading into Midtown. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly to mostly cloudy for this afternoon. Watching for pop-up showers and thunderstorms. High 81. Lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, high 87. Even hotter still on Friday with highs in the upper 80s to low 90s.
We'll have more news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, because the truth is what matters. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Hello there. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, I'm happy to have you. I want to go back because I've been meditating on this a little more than I expected to, because I was so impressed with the line and the thinking. This is Donald Trump yesterday speaking in Saudi Arabia, and this line resonated with me.
In recent years, far too many American presidents have been afflicted with the notion that it's our job to look into the souls of foreign leaders and use U.S. policy to dispense justice for their sins. They loved using our very powerful military, and now it's really the most powerful it's ever been. We just are getting a budget approved, $1 trillion, highest budget we've ever had in history for military, $1 trillion. And we're getting the greatest missiles, the greatest weapons. And, you know, I hate to do it, but you have to do it because we believe in peace through strength. You have to have the strength, otherwise bad things could happen. But hopefully we'll never have to use any of those weapons. Seems to be an awfully big waste of money if you're never going to use them, but hopefully we'll never have to use them because the destructive power of some of those weapons are like nobody's seen before. I believe it is God's job to sit in judgment, my job to defend America, and to promote the fundamental interest of stability, prosperity, and peace. That's what I really want to do.
Y'all, I wish he had not gone off script there and riffed, because the line was real powerful till he inserted his extemporaneous talking about weapons. This is the way the transcript read, the way the actual speech read. Far too many American presidents have been afflicted with the notion that it's our job to look into the souls of foreign leaders and use U.S. policy to dispense justice for their sins. It is God's job to sit in justice. My job is to defend America and to promote the fundamental interests of stability, prosperity, and peace. I like the Brent Scowcroft foreign policy. Realpolitik. Jimmy Carter, I think, had a terrible foreign policy that was emulated by Joe Biden. Jimmy Carter believed we should leverage the morality of the United States to impose on other countries human rights records, to improve human rights, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think he was not a good president, and his foreign policy, which is praised by a lot of liberals in the media, was actually pretty terrible. George H.W. Bush actually had, and Ronald Reagan too, had a grown-up foreign policy. Reagan's was very ideologically tinged, but also based in the reality of the Cold War. But when the Cold War broke apart and it was no longer Soviets versus Americans and our spheres of influence and theirs, we transitioned to George H.W. Bush with the fall of the Soviet Union, and it was premised in reality. There are bad people with which we must be allies. Take Saudi Arabia, for example. Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince there, the American media just cannot get over the killing of Jamal Khashoggi, who had written for the Washington Post. And it is very clear the Saudi leader had something to do with it, and they were beside themselves. And, of course, it affected Joe Biden as well, and Joe Biden hated him. And what did the Saudis do? The Saudis decided to make nice with China and Russia. There are bad people on planet Earth that you got to do business with to protect the interests of your country. And Mohammed bin Salman is apparently not a great guy behind the scenes by many accounts, but actually has been a very progressive leader in Saudi Arabia, allowing women to drive, allowing more openness, encouraging tourism and the like. He's somebody we can do business with. He's someone we should do business with because he's someone we should not want the Chinese and the Russians to glad hand. Take Bukele in El Salvador. The Democrats want nothing to do with President Bukele of El Salvador. They say he's a bad guy, he's a tyrant, he's a dictator, what have you. They're perfectly fine to coddle their own dictators who are socialists, but Bukele has actually made his country safe. The flood of illegal immigrants from El Salvador dropped dramatically because that guy was in charge of El Salvador. That guy stemmed the tide of illegal immigration from El Salvador by being a strong man. And if you followed the law, you had democratic rights in El Salvador. You could even be critical of the government in El Salvador. You could speak out about the government. If you were a law-abiding citizen, they'd leave you alone. And in fact, we've seen a repatriation of El Salvadorians at a faster rate of illegal immigrants than any other nation, because the illegal immigrants who came up from El Salvador fearing gang violence when Bukele became president, like, all right, we're going to go home. They liked him so much they were willing to alter the structure of the laws of El Salvador to give him a second term because they wanted him to stay. He's the most popular politician in Central America, and the Democrats in the United States turned their nose up at him because of what they perceived as the human rights violations of the gangbangers who were holding people ransom and causing people to fear for their lives and flee to the United States. The line, "It's our job to look into the souls of foreign leaders," is a riff off not George H.W. Bush, but his son, George W. Bush, who said he looked into Vladimir Putin's soul and saw a man he could do business with, and Putin played him. Condi Rice, for her part, saw through Vladimir Putin. Remember, there was a story at the time when Bush was president that Vladimir Putin was actually a repressed Christian. During the communist era, he had to hide his faith. It was Russian PR. It turned out to be garbage. It wasn't true. Condi Rice was a realist and a Russia expert. She understood. And now we have this wild situation in the Middle East. Take Syria, for example. The leaders of Saudi Arabia and Turkey have asked the president to suspend sanctions on the Syrian regime. You know who the leader of Syria is now? He was a leader of Al-Qaeda. He was a leader of Al-Qaeda who decided that Al-Qaeda was too extreme and moderated his image. Now, I don't know whether he's playing us or not, but here's the reality. If the leader in Syria is willing to not give Iran a safe haven, not give Hezbollah a safe haven, and not go to war with Israel, we should be supporting the guy, even if he's a dictator. You know, the Chinese just did military exercises with Egypt. Now, Egypt is supposed to be our ally. But the problem is President al-Sisi of Egypt is a dictator. He happens to be a dictator we can do business with. He happens to be a dictator who has protected the interests of the Christian minority in Egypt. But because he won't let go of power, the Biden administration treated him like garbage. And so guess what he's doing? He's now making kissy face with the Chinese. The Democrats in Washington are perfectly willing to align the world against the United States in order to prop up some democratic view of human rights that doesn't fly in dictatorships. There are always going to be dictators. There are always going to be bad people. There are always going to be monsters in charge of third world countries. The question is, can we do business with them, or will China do business with them? And Donald Trump seems to realize that. It's a grown-up foreign policy. It's a mature foreign policy. It is, and he won't like this comparison, but it is the foreign policy of George H.W. Bush. With the fall of the Soviet Union, the collapse of the Cold War, nations breaking apart and realigning in a multi-faceted world, George H.W. Bush was willing to do business with dictators, willing to treat the dictators as good people, even if they weren't, in order to secure American interests in the realigned world, and it worked. It reestablished American hegemony until the rise of China. If anything, George H.W. Bush was too blind to China because he'd been the ambassador there. But the whole world was. Margaret Thatcher at some point conceded that giving Hong Kong back to the Chinese was a bad idea. They thought that Hong Kong values, Western values, would infect China, and instead they stripped out the morality of the system and left the capitalist system in place. And now it's not really even a capitalist system, it's a cronyist system. There's a story out, I believe it's in the Wall Street Journal. Yes, Germany has foiled an alleged Russian plot to mail incendiary devices. German police detained 3 men suspected of planning to mail packages laden with explosives in a Russian-sponsored act of sabotage reminiscent of recent attacks on DHL logistics hubs. The arrests could shed light on last year's explosions at DHL hubs in Germany and the UK, which Western security officials alleged were part of one of the most audacious acts of sabotage ordered by the Kremlin and whose target included flights to the U.S. and Canada. The suspected plot, if confirmed, would also show that the Kremlin has continued to design and conduct increasingly daring attacks on the West since President Trump's arrival in the White House. Trump has initiated a rapprochement with Russian President Vladimir Putin with the aim of negotiating an end to the war in Ukraine. European officials suspect Russia was behind a string of incidents in the region in recent years, including the spraying of divisive graffiti, the severing of subsea cables in the Baltic, arson attacks on a weapons factory, and the planned murder of a German defense executive. The president is urging Ukraine and Russia to meet, and now the president's saying if he's got to meet with Ukraine to deal with the issue, he doesn't want to, but he will. The Russians are losing a massive number of people on the battlefield. They're basically pouring soldiers into Ukraine to make gains to preserve land. Their economy is in tatters. You've got a Saudi land deal, investment deal in the United States for commercial real estate. You've got the president going to Qatar and taking their plane, the first official presidential visit to Qatar. He's trying to get these people on his side. He's making nice with Syria, trying to alienate Iran because he recognizes Iran as the threat. And Qatar is in good relations with Iran, and the president would like to pull him away. I'm deeply skeptical of Qatar. Qatar's been playing both sides in this country. The Qataris are not our friends. But it's worth trying, isn't it? It's worth trying. It's worth seeing if we can do something. He's got a grown-up foreign policy, and President Trump is not going to get praise for his foreign policy because President Trump focuses and touts his domestic policies. Even yesterday in Saudi Arabia, he spent most of his time talking about the investment deals inside the United States, not a global world order. The president doesn't want to be seen as a foreign policy president, but every president, their second term, becomes a foreign policy president because you can get more done than domestic policy. He's doing it too. But in doing so, he's rejecting the idea that we can't do business with bad people. He's trying to find a level of common ground with bad people who might actually ally with us instead of China, because that would actually be good for us. I've got plenty of criticisms of the president. I get lots of hate from the president's supporters for not being sufficiently loyal to him, but I actually think his foreign policy is pretty grown up. And I think if you set aside your disagreements with Trump and your hatred with Trump, you've got to recognize that a president willing to do business with bad guys who might actually be nice to us instead of China is actually a smart play for the United States. It's what George H.W. Bush did. And all of you people who don't like Donald Trump praise George H.W. Bush's foreign policy as realpolitik, and this is the same thing. He's not making entangling alliances, but he's building relationships with people to preclude them from building those relationships with China. And it's something that we've got to do if we want to take on China. With bank collapses, with the wobbling economy, with the fears of slow growth moving forward, with gold prices soaring, with Bitcoin almost acting like an inflation hedge right now, Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years, and they've been warning people about a secret war on cash. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash, you need their free report. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. They can educate you on protecting your assets in their free report, The Secret War on Cash. It takes less than 15 minutes to read the report. It can save your retirement and finances. Now, when I talk about The Secret War on Cash, essentially what you need to understand is the government prefers you to use your credit card now. And they want to track all of your purchases. If you put too much money in your bank account, the bank's got to report it. The bank might freeze your account. And by the way, this includes digital currency now. They're coming for your crypto as well. They want to take the anonymity out of your purchases. They want to track everything you do. Swiss America can give you their report completely free. All you got to do is call or text 800-289-2646. What you do is you mention my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K. when you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. The report is completely free. It's eye-opening. You can get it from Swiss America. Just mention Eric when you call or text 800-289-2646. Message and data rates might apply.
Honest.
Putting your trust in me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Eric Erickson Show.
1250 Cool Ray Carrier, WSP 24-hour traffic center. Just blocked and reopened all lanes downtown, 75-85 north, just before I-20 exit 247. Got a stall off to the right there. Southbound into town, still got the flashing lights with this crash mostly off to the right. 85 southbound below Georgia 400. And right lane construction continues on Peachtree Road northbound at Farr Road. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
On air, online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
That's amazing.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every
This
weekday.
is Dawn in Brazelton, and I just won $1,000 from WSB.
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 2.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
On 95.5 WSB.
Creation displays such a beautiful landscape. You deserve to see it all. Don't let your old, big, and bulky windows block your view.
It's Jonathan and Ted from North Georgia Replacement Windows. Brighten your home with more daylight and bigger views with Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows.
Our windows come with narrow frames giving you more light. Experience the Infinity from Marvin fiberglass difference at your home or in our new Alpharetta showroom.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head-scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into. They think they know what equities they have, they think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, I would liken this to a big pot of soup, and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you, because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Termites like me eat 24/7, and your home is in their path of destruction. Mark Aram here for Breda Pest Management. You want a complete barrier from Breda, not just a bait station. If your current service only inspects the outside, how do you know the inside of your home's termite-free? Breda is better at beating termites. Only Breda inspects and protects the outside and inside. Plus, your termite rate is locked in for 10 years.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
He may not tell you what you want to hear, but he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
This hour of the program is brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan. Across the nation, they help businesses grow. If you need access to capital, if you're tired of your lender changing constantly at your current bank, well, First Liberty Building and Loan makes their own lending decisions. The Frost family's been at it since the 90s. They're still going to be there. Now, it doesn't matter if you're in Kalispell, Montana, if you're in Sacramento, California, if you're in Anchorage, Alaska, if you're in Austin, Texas, if you're in Fort Lauderdale, if you're in Jupiter, Florida, wherever you are nationwide, if you're up in Connecticut, they help businesses in all 50 states grow. They would love to help you if you need access to capital, $250,000 or more to grow your business. You're buying a building, you're buying a franchise, you're buying out a business competitor or a partner, deals like that. Reach out to the Frost family at firstlibertyga.com. Firstlibertyga.com. Tell them I sent you. They would love to chat with you. All right. Now, look, when we come back, I want to transition into a wild story about the Chinese infiltration into the United States. I want to take your phone calls as well. Don't have time in this segment to get it done, but the phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be very happy to have you. Promise I'll take your phone calls. However, first, I got to tell you, Boeing has struck the largest ever 787 jet order with Qatar Airways, the White House has said. Boeing and GE Aerospace secured a $96 billion agreement to sell Qatar up to 210 jets. The deal for the 787 Dreamliner and the 777X aircraft powered by GE engines is Boeing's largest ever wide-body order and largest ever 787 order. The White House said the deal will support 154,000 U.S. jobs annually, over 1 million total domestic jobs over the course of production and delivery. Further details are unclear. Now, listen, this is great, this is good, and Qatar has the money to buy. However, not to rain on the parade, but I've just got a sneaking suspicion that a lot of these countries are doing this to suck up to Trump. And the moment Trump is out of office, they're going to cancel these deals. I don't actually believe a lot of it. And you talk to guys in Washington who are Trump adjacent, who are very loyal, who are in the administration, they say probably that's the case. But he gets the headlines right now. And the Democrats had the opportunity to do stuff like this, and they didn't. Joe Biden could have gone to Qatar and struck a deal. He could have gone to Saudi Arabia and struck a deal with Saudi Airlines. He refused to do it. So Donald Trump gets the credit for it. And you know what? If Donald Trump leaves office and they all cancel the deals afterwards, there will be money that has been paid thus far, and it goes with the Trump legacy. Now, it's true, like companies decided to manufacture like semiconductor plants and stuff in the U.S. under Biden, and guess what? They fell through, but Trump able to resurrect some of those deals and bully those companies into spending money now. It's working for him. He gets the credit for it. But just don't expect these things to last. Don't bank on them lasting. I do kind of suspect that a lot of this is them sucking up to him to get preferable deals for themselves out of it. And once he's gone, the deals go away as well. Let's just be realistic about this. When we come back, though, we got to do something about China. There's a wild, wild report out about just how far they have infested our electronic infrastructure.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by Window Nation. And DeKalb County leaders there want those with outstanding water bills to come forward, even as some community advocates claim that the county's not doing enough to help low-income residents.
The county has started shutting off service to some residents with long overdue bills, but only after multiple attempts to contact them. CEO Lorraine Cochran Johnson says they have more than $100 million worth of delinquent bills.
Over 600 water customers in DeKalb County have balances on their accounts that exceed $5,000.
But she says they can't help those who won't return a phone call.
If there is a hardship or extenuating and mitigating circumstances, we're here to work with you.
Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Your weather this afternoon, partly to mostly cloudy, pop-up showers and storms possible this afternoon with a high of 81, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Happening right now, a search is underway for a teenager accused of shooting and killing his stepfather in Covington. The Newton County Sheriff's Office says 16-year-old Jaden Daniel allegedly shot 41-year-old David Gay on Avery Drive. Daniel fled the scene in an SUV belonging to his stepfather. It was later found at Denny Dobbs Park. Police say Daniel is considered armed and dangerous. Anybody with information being asked to call 911. We are hearing for the first time from that 19-year-old college student being held by immigration officials after she was pulled over by mistake in North Georgia.
Her case is in the national spotlight, and Jimena Arias Cristobal tells CBS Mornings by phone from an ICE detention center what scares her the most.
Not being able to stay in the United States after I've lived here my whole entire life.
State Representative Casey Carpenter, a Republican who represents Dalton, says this case is a tough one.
There's been an uprising of heartbreak for our community because, a lot of people felt like we were going after the hard criminals, and unfortunately, good people are getting caught in the wash on this issue.
Cristobal's father is also facing deportation. Jennifer Perry, 95.5 WSB.
All right, this is new here at 1 o'clock. Schools across the country, including here in Georgia, warning parents about the Chromebook challenge. In a viral TikTok video, it shows kids jamming paper clips or pencils into the USB ports of their school-issued laptops, causing them to catch fire. This mother says her son saw the video.
He thought it was a pretty dumb thing for people to be doing.
Now, some schools are warning parents that if your child does this, you will be paying the bill. Overdose deaths are down nearly 27% here in the U.S., according to released data today from the CDC. Here in Georgia, the deaths were down just over 24%, with 1,984 people dying from an overdose. Most of the deaths are linked to fentanyl. CDC saying despite the overall improvements, overdose deaths remains the leading cause of death for those aged 18 to 44. It's 102.
Your neighbors won't say what they're thinking, but I will. Your siding is hideous. Dave Baker here for the only siding company I recommend, Nelson Exteriors. Your ugly siding is faded, warped, cracked, rotting, and just falling apart. Nelson will properly install beautiful new siding with unmatched quality and craftsmanship so it lasts and lasts. They're licensed, insured, and a James Hardy Elite Preferred Contractor. Count on Nelson for an extraordinary renovation. Google Nelson Exteriors.
Skip the hassle of constant cleaning and sell your home stress-free with a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Hi, this is Mark Spain. With a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, you can sell your home stress-free, make the most money, and move on your timeline. One of our clients, Tyra, said, thanks to Mark Spain Real Estate, our home had several cash offers within 24 hours of it being on the market, and we closed in less than a month. Find out what your guaranteed offer would be and close in as little as 21 days. There's no obligation. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com. And start packing.
This is Scott Slade. Nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier, the better. Like me. My doctor saw one lab work number that led to a diagnosis early enough, so I still had options. That's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the best CT imaging in the Southeast with 98% accuracy and low radiation. Virtual imaging's LD CT whole body scan can be invaluable, giving you time and options for early treatment. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is offering their LDCT body scan for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Now, appointments must be scheduled in May. There are a limited number of scans available at this price, so a few minimum requirements may apply. Don't put this off. I've done it. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
If you drive a Mercedes, BMW, Land Rover, or any European import, come see us at Rocco's European Garage. Better value than the dealership, honest and all-in pricing with customer approval prior to us beginning, and our services won't void the manufacturer's warranty. Rocco's European Garage.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center with a look at your roads.
Checking on a new slow zone, 285 westbound, the inner loop just past Flat Shoals, exit 48. Seen a few cars getting out of the right lane. We're going to investigate that. Elsewhere, crash still off to the right, 85 southbound below Georgia 400, and 985 southbound out of Oakwood. You got a construction in the right lane below H.F. Reed Industrial Parkway, exit 14. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly to mostly cloudy through this afternoon. Watching for pop-up showers and thunderstorms. High 81. Lows tonight in the mid-60s. Finally drying out tomorrow, but heating up. Partly cloudy. High 87. Highs on Friday in the upper 80s to low 90s.
And we might have the warmer temperatures, but then more storms are on the way for Saturday, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. As we take a look around the area right now, it's 77 degrees in Snellville, cloudy 77 in Roswell, Forest Park. You have partly cloudy skies and 78 degrees. Here in Metro Atlanta, it is cloudy mostly and 76 degrees on Peachtree Street. We'll have more news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Conversationalists, it's Eric Erickson here across the fruited plain. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, do not forget to text the word Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777 so you can get the show notes, the live stream, the podcast. By the way, those of you who sometimes get the podcast in Apple, we're getting a lot of notes from people. Did you pull it from Apple? We did not. Apple is making people, and it's not just me, it's other podcasts. If you've subscribed for a while, they're making you refresh the podcast, and you're not getting the latest episodes. And that is an Apple thing. It's an iPhone thing. It's not a me thing. Okay, now, we got to move on. First of all, actually, just as a matter of housekeeping, I need to tell my mom and dad and my sisters that I am okay. I have not been responsive to their group chat this morning. I'm just now aware of their group chat as we're coming back in the break, all of the messages. I have right now, I'm not making this up, 209 unanswered text messages. That's just text messages that have come in the last 12 hours. 920 emails in just the last few. I'm a little overwhelmed this morning. I had an event last night, and there have been so many text messages back and forth and people piling up. My family group chat got buried. So I love my mom and my dad and my sisters, and I am unresponsive in the group chat right now because I got 209 messages, and I'm just trying to do my radio show right now. So I'll get to you. I love you. Now, this is from Reuters, and I got to give a tip of the hat to a friend of mine who flagged this story on Twitter, Chuck DeVore, down at the Texas Public Policy Foundation. And he says the gravity of the revelations in this article about previously unknown communication devices found in power equipment manufactured in China cannot be understated. Yup. This is a crazy story. Now, I'm going to do something here that I don't like to do often. I'm going to read you a large passage of the story. And I got to say this up front, because do you all know there are literally people who will email me angrily if I read too much of a news story and say, you should have summarized. I could tell you're reading that. I could have read it myself. I came for your thoughts. Well, I'm sorry. Don't email me on this. This is important. I want to capture the details accurately. This is from Reuters. London, May 14th. Those of you who watch Danger Mouse know. London. U.S. energy officials are reassessing the risk posed by Chinese-made devices that play a critical role in renewable energy infrastructure after unexplained communications equipment was found inside some of them Two people familiar with the matter said. Power inverters, which are predominantly produced in China, are used throughout the world to connect solar panels and wind turbines to electricity grids. They are also found in batteries, heat pumps, and electric vehicle chargers. Never mind. Sorry, so I'm reading this on read-only mode, and there's an advertisement in the middle of it, but it looks just like the text. Makes sense of the latest ESG trends. No, never mind. While inverters are built to allow remote access for updates and maintenance, the utility companies that use them typically install firewalls to prevent direct communication back to China. However, rogue communication devices, not listed in product documents, have been found in some Chinese solar power inverters by U.S. experts who stripped down equipment hooked up to the grids to check for security issues, two people said. Over the past 9 months, undocumented communication devices, including cellular radios, have also been found in some batteries from multiple Chinese suppliers. Reuters was unable to determine how many solar power inverters and batteries they have looked at. The rogue components provide additional undocumented communication channels that could allow firewalls to be circumvented remotely with potentially catastrophic consequences. We know that China believes there is a value in placing at least some elements of our core infrastructure at risk of disruption and destruction, said Mike Rogers, a former director of the U.S. National Security Agency. I think that the Chinese are in part hoping that the widespread use of inverters limits the options that the West has to deal with the security issue. A spokesman for the Chinese embassy in Washington said, we oppose the generalization of the concept of national security, distorting and smearing China's infrastructure achievements. Using the rogue communication devices to skirt firewalls and switch off inverters remotely or change their settings could destabilize power grids, damage energy infrastructure, and trigger widespread blackouts. That effectively means there is a built-in way to physically destroy the power grid, one of the people said. The two people declined to name the Chinese manufacturers of the inverters and batteries with extra communication devices, nor said how many they had found in total. The existence of the rogue devices has not previously been reported. The U.S. government has not publicly acknowledged the discoveries. The U.S. Department of Energy said it continually assesses risks associated with emerging technologies and that there were significant challenges with manufacturers disclosing and documenting functionality. Work is ongoing to address any gaps in disclosures through software bill of materials or inventories. Now, I will stop there. This story goes on for quite a while. If you text data to 33777, it is in our show notes today, and it is really something to behold. In November, solar power inverters in the United States and elsewhere were disabled from China, highlighting the risk of foreign influence over local electricity supplies and causing concern among government officials, three people familiar with the matter said. The incident led to a commercial dispute between inverter suppliers SolArc and D, the people said. The companies did not respond to comment. Now, the Chinese have infiltrated our telecommunications infrastructure to such an extent the government and our telecom companies have given up trying to get them out. I talked to a ranking member of Congress. Well, let me back up. I talked to Tom Cotton. He was on the program when his book on China came out last month or month before, and asked him about this. He said there's really nothing he can tell me, and there's nothing good. That was kind of it. So in the last week, I actually talked to another high-ranking member of Congress. It was off the record, or at least on background, because I can talk about it. And he said they've largely given, they don't know how to get the Chinese out of the telecom grid. But what he said was interesting in light of this Reuters story. He said, we feel pretty comfortable about the electrical grid. Not anymore. By the way, I pinged him with this Reuters article when he hadn't read it. I'm interested to see his thinking of this, because the electrical grid has been infiltrated as well. And notice it's wind and solar. Notice in particular that we are vulnerable in areas where the environmental left, funded by China no less, has pushed the American power companies to go. Near my house is a massive solar farm by Georgia Power. Georgia Power also has a nuclear power plant in the state of Georgia. It's the first nuclear power plant, Plant Vogtle, built in decades in the United States. In fact, the cost overruns were in the billions, but the company and the government decided they still, despite all the cost overruns, despite passing on the cost to consumers, they still needed to build it as a matter of national security because we've lost the institutional knowledge in this country on how to build nuclear power plants. It's been so long since we built nuclear power plants in the United States, we had to retrain engineers how to build a nuclear power plant to get this plant built. That's why it was worth the cost overruns to get it built, because now we have a class of engineers in the country who have built a nuclear power plant, who can build a new nuclear power plant more efficiently, more expeditiously, and they wouldn't have been able to do it without biting on the cost overruns. And good to the Georgia Public Service Commission for allowing it. It's been a contentious political issue, but it was a necessary national security issue. Unfortunately, a lot of the costs have to be borne by power consumers in the state of Georgia and elsewhere who get their power, but it was necessary for the future of this country. The nuclear power plant is not, there's not a worry about China being able to shut it down because we don't have massive parts sourced from China with this telecom equipment embedded in it. But the solar farm, also run by Georgia Power, and every power company in America is doing them, there are real concerns based on the story because so many of the power inverters come from China. Have they been unknowingly compromised? So our telecom infrastructure has been hacked by the Chinese, the power infrastructure hacked by the Chinese. The water infrastructure we know has been hacked by the North Koreans, the Russians, the Chinese. It's a real problem. We are very vulnerable. If China does invade Taiwan or some such, they could really try to distract us in ways that take us out. Now, by the way, side note here. This is kind of dumb and hokey, but I'm in an industry, radio, that a lot of people are convinced is dying. A lot of people are convinced you can't make a lot of money in radio anymore. A lot of companies would like to sell stations. They can't. A lot of the major companies on the verge of bankruptcy, headed to bankruptcy. Y'all, something's coming with China. It's going to be bad. And when it comes, you're not going to be able to get Spotify or Apple Music. You're going to be able to get radio because it broadcasts across the airways free of charge, and your local radio can be charged up and ready to go. When the Chinese cut the internet from us and our telecom from us and even our electricity from us, you're probably going to be able to get your local broadcast radio and TV stations, and you're not going to be able to get your internet streaming services. So for the long haul, people better stay invested in TV and radio because when the poop hits the fan with China, we're all you're going to get. You're going to go back to us and have to figure out what a commercial break is again that you're not getting on Spotify. That's just the reality of the situation. The Chinese have the capacity now to shut off our internet, shut off our phones, but they can't shut off broadcast TV and radio. They can shut off cable TV, but not what you get over the airwaves. They don't have that capacity. Why? Because the infrastructure is still, a lot of it is analog and old. Hasn't been updated with a bunch of cheap Chinese parts. But there are real national security vulnerabilities right now that we got to deal with. The Chinese are not our friends. They're not even good trading partners. And you know, with the walk back of the terrorists, there's actually a story in the Washington Post that the reason the president was so eager to walk this stuff back and undo his dialogue about decoupling from China is he started seeing real risks in states that he won to the economy. He was worried about empty store shelves, and he decided they moved too hard, too fast to decouple from China. He still wants to decouple from China, but it's got to go slow. But this is an example of why we need to decouple from China. We've got to stop buying the stuff from China. And also, we've got to stop investing so much in solar and wind power where the Chinese make the majority of the components. And we do need to build some natural gas power plants and some nuclear power plants in this country that can sustain our power grid when the Chinese flip the switch they've hacked into it to turn off the solar and the wind inverters and try to destroy our power grid. These are real things happening. There are real vulnerabilities, and too many environmental leftists don't take them seriously. They're funded by China. They don't really care, and frankly, they would be fine if the power went off because of the global emissions. The rest of us, however, need to wise up to what's happening and divest ourselves as best we can and decouple ourselves as best we can from China.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
120 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Brake lights on 285 east and northbound, the outer loop into Cab, leaving flat shoals. All that trying to get it through that work zone on the ramp to I-20 eastbound. Westbound been tapping the brakes as well, passing flat shoals. Think we had some right lane trouble clear there. And crash clear downtown, or heading into downtown, 85 south below 400. Traffic brought to you by Stone Mountain Park. Visit Stone Mountain Park Memorial Day weekend and see the new fire drones, plus the Music Across America drone and light show and fireworks finale. Tickets at stonemountainpark.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
That's amazing.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
This is Dawn in Brazelton, and I just won $1,000 from WSB.
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 2.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz
on 95.5 WSB.
Have you gotten your grilling preparations and fixins for Memorial Day? It's coming up. I've got mine from Omaha Steaks, and you should too, because during the Memorial Day sale, you get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. And listen, you're going to get an extra $35 off with promo code ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, at checkout. Just look for the promo code box, put in my name, Eric. You'll get $35 off and already 50% off site-wide. So I loaded up on hamburgers and the gourmet jumbo franks. Of course, my wife loves the caramel apple tartlets. But go load up your cart with deliciousness. Whatever you want, 50% off site-wide at Omaha Steaks for Memorial Day. It is deliciousness delivered to your door. I've already got my order in. I did save you guys some food, so go check it out. omahasteaks.com, 50% off site-wide. The Memorial Day sale happening right now. Use promo code ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, at checkout for an extra $35 off. Minimum purchase may apply.
An investment in your home is something that will pay off in the future, but it's something that you can enjoy right now. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage, Entry Doors, and Windows. A beautiful new garage door, entry doors, and windows are an investment you can love every day, and they will increase your home's value, energy efficiency, and curb appeal. All Four Seasons, trusted in Atlanta for over 25 years, exceptional customer service, and high-quality work. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 Seasons Garage.
Breda knows how critical it is to protect the inside of your home, not just the outside, against bugs and critters. Termites, the most destructive pest of all. They literally eat your house. Hey, it's Mark Aram here for Breda Pest Management. I bet your termite company just walks around outside, checks bait stations, and says, hey, you're termite free. But are you? How can they claim that when they haven't even inspected inside? Only Breda protects your home from termites with a complete liquid barrier system, not just those bait stations. And only Breda's early detection process will thoroughly inspect your entire home with advanced infrared cameras. Wow. Breda is so confident they guarantee your protection and will lock in your termite rate for 10 years. Breda Pest Management, they handle bugs and critters like termites. Get started at BREDApest.com.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Noonan homeowners, join us for the grand opening of your new home outlet, May 15th through 17th. Save 20% off store-wide. We understand the demands of family life. Your home deserves more than what the budget sometimes allows. Now is your chance to save on the kitchen, bath, and flooring updates your home needs. Visit your employee-owned home outlet at 54 Bullsboro Drive to save 20%. 3 days only, May 15th to 17th, or shop online at homeoutlet.com.
Home Outlet is your home store.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Join Eric's army of activists and let your voice be heard. Text ARMY to 33777.
Hello and welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. If you'd like to be on the program, let's go to the phones. Jeremiah has been waiting patiently. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Hey, Eric, I'm thankful, sir. How are you doing?
I'm great. That's a good way to respond, being thankful.
Well, in all things, ALL, in all things give thanks.
Amen.
You know, I'm gonna pitch one in here. Before I ask my question, you know, I think you were some time back you were a Bible student, and I think it's interesting to trace the development of a nation through the David, Solomon, and Rehoboam. And I would suggest that maybe the 19th century, 18th century, and 19th, 20th, and 21st centuries. In your own personal time, you might see how there may be some parallels with those kings in our country's history during those centuries. But I would suggest that we're in the Rehoboam era now. So my question, Eric, is the comment earlier that after Reagan had sort of put to bed the Cold War, that we then moved on to more appropriate foreign policy. And I think the context that you were talking about was being willing to talk to people we're not ideologically aligned with. And for that argument, I don't take any exception to that. My question, though, is can we overall say that our foreign policy was appropriate as we transitioned from putting communism to bed on the global stage to then turning around and giving it the economic lifeblood that it would never otherwise have?
Look, that's a good point, and particularly with China, so here's the thing: if like in hindsight, we can say bad idea. When you actually listen to the leaders at the time, George H.W. Bush, Margaret Thatcher in particular, John Major after her, Brian Mulroney up in Canada and the like, moving and helping the Chinese build, there really was an ideological belief, and it was a philosophical belief out of the academy by really noted serious thinkers, not progressives, that communism and capitalism cannot coexist. So you bring capitalism to China, it's going to break down the communism, that the economic success will bring democratic success. And the Chinese leadership actually started to have problems with that, and there has been a crackdown over time to preserve communism. And our leadership, and even very smart academics, they didn't see it coming. They miscalculated greatly. They did help make China strong, and China was in a process of economic and even democratic liberalization for a time. And then they flipped the switch, and Xi Jinping and others come along and realize we can make economic gains, but then we can continue to tap down and repress people. And yeah, it was a strategic miscalculation on our side. We actually should have worked harder to destabilize the communist regime in China before implementing any economic reform there. Big mistake in hindsight. Now, let me tell you about Vision Computers. Vision would love to work with you to build your technology. If you need a computer, listen, I'm a big fan of the big box electronic stores too. Y'all know them, one in particular, and you can go buy a computer there. And it's going to be a computer made for the masses. It's not going to be made for you. Vision's going to make a computer for you and save you money. They're going to discuss what your needs are and also what your wants are, and they're going to make it so it's upgradable over time, so you're not having to go buy a brand new computer all the time every few years. When it gets outdated, you just upgrade it. And you get Vision's world-class support that you don't get at the big box store, where you get a special phone number you can call if you ever have a question or a problem. 15 seconds or less, you get the answer. They can even remote in and work with you. And if you just want that tech support for your existing computer, you don't need a new computer, for $179 a year, you can do that for a business or for a home. for a loved one, for your kid at college. Call them at 404-COMPUTER. Go to visioncomputers.com. Tell them I sent you. You'll save even more money. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. Police are on the lookout right now for a 16-year-old wanted for shooting and killing his stepfather. Police say that Jaden Daniel allegedly shot 41-year-old David Gay on Avery Drive, then took off in his stepdad's SUV. That vehicle was found at Denny Dobbs Park. Daniel is considered armed and dangerous. Anybody with information being asked to call police. All right, you may see a pop-up shower or storm this afternoon and a high of 81, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. This is new this half hour. Consumer Reports is out with a new investigation that has found discrepancies between the prices marked on items and what you actually pay at checkout at Kroger. The investigation shows price tags were outdated by about 10 days, and that resulted in Kroger shoppers paying more for what they thought were discounted items. The Secretary of Health and Human Services telling Congress today he doesn't think anybody should take his medical advice. During a House hearing, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was asked if he'd vaccinated his own children for measles.
Probably for measles. What I would say is my opinions about vaccines are irrelevant.
He then added, quote, I don't think people should be taking medical advice from me. Kennedy has a history of questioning the effectiveness and side effects of vaccines, but has since said that vaccines have a critical role in health care. Drug overdoses are down here in the United States. According to the CDC, there were 30,000 fewer drug overdose deaths in 2024. That was the largest one-year decline recorded. Experts say several possible factors include increased availability of overdose reversing drugs, expanded addiction treatment, and then shifts in how people use drugs. And Forbes' annual list of the world's wealthiest people includes some who live right here in Georgia. Home Depot co-founder Arthur Blank on the list, worth a whopping $9 billion. Tyler Perry also making the list. The richest family in Georgia is the Truett Cathy family, the owners of Chick-fil-A. They each are worth approximately $10.8 billion, and collectively they total a net worth of around $32.4 billion. It's 132.
If you've been taught that all bread is unhealthy, I'm here to tell you not if it's real bread. Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. If you're struggling with weight gain, high cholesterol, constipation, even warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, come visit us at the Bread Becker store in Woodstock, where we have taught thousands of customers that real bread might be their healthy solution. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of real whole grains and bread. I discovered that store-bought bread has had most of the nutrients in the grain removed during milling, and yes, even packages labeled 100% whole wheat. Make a healthy eating change in your life at Bread Beckers in Woodstock. We'll show you how bread, but only real bread, might be the answer to your family's physical ills. The Bread Beckers. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
When markets get rocky, the worst thing you can do is nothing. Hi, I'm David Nicholas, president and founder of Nicholas Wealth Management. Times like these demand action and a plan you can trust. That's why we rely on our trademark Retire Ready Bucket strategy. This strategy is designed to place a percentage of your portfolio into lower risk, income producing income bucket, aiming to generate steady cash flow for the first 10 to 15 years of retirement. Meanwhile, your growth bucket is filled with dividend and growth stocks, which has time to recover when markets are going crazy. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com to schedule a time to sit down with our team to review your plan. This strategy was crafted by experience. It's battle tested, and it's how you aim to keep your retirement on track even when the markets are not. So call Nicholas Wealth today at 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. At Nicholas Wealth Management, we're prepared. Are you? Don't wait for the next headline to shake your confidence. Call Nicholas Wealth today, 678-990-8500 or visit nicholaswealth.com. Nicholas Wealth Management. Retire ready.
Nicholas Wealth Management is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Neither the information nor any opinion expressed is to be construed as solicitation to buy or sell a security or personalized investment, tax, or legal advice.
Alex Williams, how are we looking on the roads?
Just had some trouble clear, I believe, to the right shoulder now out of Alpharetta into Roswell, 400 southbound, right around Mansell Road. And then we got the construction in the right lane, 985 southbound, HF Reed Industrial, exit 14 in Hall County. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly to mostly cloudy for this afternoon with pop-up showers and thunderstorms, high 81.
More news at 2 o'clock, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Erick Erickson Show.
Greetings and welcome. It is Erick Erickson here across the United States. The phone number is 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, text the word recipe, singular recipe, to 33777. We're about to revive the recipe list and send out recipes again. I've been working on some. We will get them. My assistant is very adamant. We have to resurrect it. So for those of you who are new to the program, I'm a big believer that you should be breaking bread with others and I mean, learn basic cooking. And so I just every once in a while send out pretty simple recipes that anybody can do. They're not nothing complex other than like my gumbo recipe or the cinnamon rolls, but they're actually not hard. They just take a while. And we'll get back to it. Recipe, singular, not plural, recipe to 33777. Marco Rubio is now in charge of like half the government. He's the archivist. He is the USAID director. He's the Secretary of State. He's the National Security Advisor. And he is making changes to the National Security Council. This is from NBC News. In his new add-on role of National Security Advisor, he is scaling down the size of the National Security Council and making a dramatic change in how it works. Shrinking the staff of the NSC would be in part designed to more closely align how it operates with the way President Trump makes decisions. Rather than a large staff generating policy recommendations for the president, the idea is to create a version along the lines Trump prefers, more top-down, with the president directing the National Security Advisor, who then leads the staff to carry out those orders. The National Security Council, which is run out of the White House, is the core hub for coordinating a policy process across government agencies to help the president make decisions on foreign policy and national security matters. The size of its staff, which can be as many as several hundred, has changed under different administrations. When Trump took office, the National Security Council had 300 staffers, which was cut in January to 150. The expected cuts would whittle the staff down to between 50 and 60, but a final decision has not been made, said three people with direct knowledge of the plans. Rubio doesn't plan to fire any staff, but will reassign them to other agencies. Now, let me just pause on this and note, Joe Biden had 300 staff on the National Security Council, and his foreign policy was nonsense, was garbage. Do you know, when you talk to Democrats and Republicans on Capitol Hill privately who support Ukraine, even publicly, Tom Cotton has been very open about it. Joni Ernst has been very open about it. Very few of the Democrats want to be open about it. Joe Biden made all these promises to Ukraine and barely ever delivered. This is something, those of you who hate Donald Trump and think he's too pro-Russia, that you haven't been willing to account for in Ukraine, and it's something I've talked about. I've had Tom Cotton on the program before. He's brought it up. I've had Joni Ernst on to talk about this. Joe Biden made a lot of promises to deliver things to Ukraine and then never actually delivered them. He made a lot of funding promises and didn't deliver. He made a lot of equipment and weapons promises he didn't deliver. He was notorious for that. And Republicans were behind the scenes telling Jake Sullivan and others at the White House that if Trump gets elected, you better hurry up and do this stuff to Ukraine and lock it in. And he didn't. And you know what has happened with Donald Trump as president? Donald Trump has given Ukraine the weapons that Joe Biden dragged his feet on. I'm not making that up. You don't hear about it in the news media. They've seeded a narrative that Trump is pro-Russia, that he doesn't want to give Ukraine anything. You've heard Zelensky himself talk about the weapons purchases from the United States that came through after Donald Trump became president again. Joe Biden had 300 staffers on the National Security Council, and his foreign policy was a disaster. They were an anemic response to the Hamas invasion of Israel, an anemic response to the Houthi, a terrible resurrection of an Iran deal. They were weak on helping Ukraine. They haven't really helped Taiwan build up its arsenal against China. They were negligent in the Western Hemisphere. They were negligent on Haiti. This is something I think this president needs to take on, and that is Haiti. Because the Chinese want to restabilize Haiti. And if the Chinese restabilize Haiti, they're going to get a port for their military very close to Guantanamo Bay in Puerto Rico, let alone Florida. Marco Rubio understands the problems of the Western Hemisphere. J.D. Vance understands the problems in the Western Hemisphere pretty significantly. These guys are competent to engage on these issues and need to be able to do something. Now, while all of this is happening, there is a piece in the New York Times, an opinion piece from 3 Yale professors with the headline, "We study fascism and we're leaving the United States." Professors Marcy Shore, Timothy Snyder, and Jason Stanley have studied and written extensively on authoritarianism. Ms. Triani is a producer for opinion video at the New York Times, helped by James Robinson to do an opinion video, and they're doing this opinion video with these professors, all of whom are at Yale, it appears. Legal residents of the United States sent to foreign prisons without due process, students detained after voicing their opinions, federal judges threatened with impeachment for ruling against the administration's priorities. In the opinion video above, Marcy Shore, Timothy Snyder, and Jason Stanley, all professors at Yale and experts in authoritarianism, explain why America is especially vulnerable to a democratic backsliding and why they're leaving the United States to take up positions at where? The University of Toronto in Canada, where remember the truckers who had their bank accounts shut down when they protested COVID closings. Yeah, Professor Stanley is leaving the United States as an act of protest against the Trump administration's attacks on civil liberties. I want Americans to realize this is a democratic emergency. Professor Shore, who has spent 2 decades writing about the history of authoritarianism in Central and Eastern Europe, is leaving because of what she sees as the sharp regression of American democracy. We're like people on the Titanic saying our ship can't sink, she said. And what you know as a historian is that there's no such thing as a ship that can't sink. Professor Snyder's reasons are more complicated. Primarily, he's leaving to support his wife, Professor Shore, and their children, and to teach at a large public university in Toronto, a place he says can host conversations about freedom. At the same time, he shares the concerns expressed by his colleagues and worries that those kinds of conversations will become even harder to have in the United States. I did not leave Yale because of Donald Trump or because of Columbia or because of threats to Yale, but that would be a reasonable thing to do, and that is a decision that people will make, he wrote in Yale Daily News. Their motives differ, but their analysis is the same. Ignoring or downplaying attacks on the rule of law of the courts and universities spells trouble for our democracy. Y'all, I'm fine with these people and kind of wish more of them would go to. Leave. Your act of protest, nobody cares. You know what's happening on these university campuses at Yale? At Yale, if you're a conservative Christian and you speak up, you can be punished for misgendering someone by accurately reflecting their gender. There's your authoritarianism. At these Ivy League institutions, if you're Jewish, you can be harassed without consequence. If you're a Christian, your professors can belittle and berate you without consequence. They're worried about Donald Trump's authoritarianism. If anything, they seeded it on these Ivy League campuses. And Donald Trump, contrary to their views, Donald Trump is going to be gone in a few years. And you know what's going to happen? If a Democrat becomes president and does the things Donald Trump has done, they're not going to say it's authoritarianism. They're not going to say it's totalitarianism. They're going to say it's part of the process. Democracy is messy. I never spoke out when Barack Obama sued nuns to try to force them to perform abortions or pay for abortions. They never spoke out when Joe Biden used the FACE Act to arrest men and women for praying at abortion clinics. They never spoke out when the Biden administration targeted red states and tried to get them to comply with transgender rulings. They never spoke out. They never spoke out when the Biden administration or the Obama administration used the IRS to target political opponents. They never spoke out. They never speak out when Democrats do things that strike the rest of us as authoritarianism. But Donald Trump mean tweets and, oh my gosh, it's authoritarian. There are plenty of problems I do have with this administration. I think it was wrong of this administration to sue law firms, and judges shut the door on that. I do think going after law firms is not good, because I think law firms should have the right to represent the people they want to represent. And I don't think they should be punished for their zealous representation of clients. Yeah, bad. But rounding up Abrego Garcia, an MS-13 member, according to a court, and sending him to El Salvador, his native land, I don't really have a problem with that, and neither do most Americans. Rounding up illegal immigrants and deporting them, I don't have a problem with it. What I have a problem with are judges trying to twist the law to find ways to say Donald Trump can't do stuff the president of the United States can do. There's authoritarianism. Judicial tyranny is also a tyranny that these people are happy with when it's progressive judges. The problem here is their intellectual inconsistency. I'm willing to speak up regularly and criticize Donald Trump, the Qatar plane deal, the lawsuits against law firms, moving so fast on illegal immigration, he's accidentally rounded up American citizens. I'm willing to say something. But these guys never want to say anything when the Democrats do sorts of things too. They always excuse it. When Barack Obama was telling his supporters to take guns to knife fights, well, it was just political rhetoric. When Barack Obama was telling Hispanic voters Republicans are your enemies, it's just political rhetoric. When the Obama White House set up an office so that you could report your neighbor if they lied about Obamacare. Well, it wasn't really, you're exaggerating. No, I'm not exaggerating. That really happened. Linda Douglas, formerly of ABC News, ran it, cut videos on how you had this great address where if someone sends you an email and it lies about Obamacare, you could forward it to the White House so they could debunk it with your neighbors and whatnot. But that was all fine. It's all hunky-dory, all acceptable. All of that was fine. It's the intellectual inconsistency of the left on this stuff. Do I have concerns about people feeling like if they speak out, they may lose a contract, they may not get a job? Yeah, I do. And I've said so. But I said so during the Obama administration as well. And you know what Obama did? Obama's administration came for conservative talk radio shows, tried to target conservative radio stations, tried to shut them down and revoke their licenses. They tried to impose an equal time rule where if I, as a conservative on a radio station, say something they don't like, they can require that a liberal be able to come on and counter me. They didn't like free speech. They didn't like Christians. They've routinely harassed guys like Jack Phillips, a baker who wants to be left alone to run his business as he sees fits, and they want to shut him down. And none of these people ever wanted to say anything. None of them ever wanted to speak out. So spare me your outrage over Donald Trump. By the way, I am regularly and routinely critical of Donald Trump, so much so that I get hate mail as much from his supporters as I do from the left. But you know what? He hadn't tried to shut me down. He hadn't tried to take me off the air. He hadn't come after me and tried to punish me. That's what the left does. I've had people show up at my house to threaten me because I didn't like Donald Trump, but Donald Trump didn't send them. But I've had left-wingers show up at my house to threaten me too, and they came after left-wing groups doxed me and exposed my home address. I've been swatted by left-wing groups. Where were these professors? What about the rise of that? You know, they're now upset about judges getting pizzas to their house. Yes, they're upset that progressive judges are being harassed by people showing up with pizza orders at their house. That's happened to me 5 times in the last month by progressives. And did these people care when it happened to conservatives? No. So spare me your outrage. Go to Canada, which rounds up people who say things that they don't like, that arrests pastors for preaching out of the New Testament condemnations on certain lifestyles, and arrests people for misgendering. They're fine with that level of totalitarianism. They're fine with that authoritarianism. They're fine with the authoritarianism that shuts down your bank accounts because you protested the government during COVID. They're perfectly fine to move to an authoritarian regime in Canada that has done all of those things because Orange man bad. These people are broken, and I'm fine with them going to Canada. My only hope is that they don't come back after he leaves office, while they delude themselves into thinking he'll never leave office. And once he does, please stay in Canada. You and the poutine can have each other. I don't understand that Canadian delicacy. I just don't. In any event, Old Glory Bank is my bank. They would love to be your bank too. Old Glory Bank is a bank headquartered out of Oklahoma. It's an online bank. They have great business services. If you're a business and you're looking for a bank to do business with, you should do business with Old Glory Bank. They're very hands-on. They've got no-fee checking, no-fee savings for individuals. If your kids need a bank account, you can get a bank account set up with them. They're fantastic people. Mike, the CEO, is a great guy. I know the guys who founded it. They're just good people. They're by conservatives, for conservatives. They want to do business with you. They're highly innovative. Even though they're an online bank, I can deposit cash at their online bank, unlike my last online bank account where it was impossible to deposit cash. Old Glory Bank makes it easy. You can do home loans, HELOCs, you can do lines of credit, you can do car loans, you can do CDs. They've got competitive interest rates. OldGloryBank.com. OldGloryBank.com. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply. By the way, if you want to invest in Old Glory Bank, they decided not to go to Wall Street because they don't want the wokes buying up their shares using progressive shareholder pressure. So they're selling their stock to Main Street, bypassing Wall Street. You can go to own.oldglorybank.com, OWN, own.oldglorybank.com. Invest in Old Glory Bank. Now, stock goes up and down. It's not FDIC insured. You should talk to a professional advisor about this before making a decision, but you can find out more at own.oldglorybank.com.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
151 Coolray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Got a crash in Clayton County, 75 northbound, Forest Parkway exit 237. Left lane is knocked out there. That's causing the brake lights back to Terra Boulevard. Slow into Cab County in the work zone, 20 eastbound between Wesley Chapel and Panola Road. They have been doing right lane work there. We're going to see if anything new is blocking that, adding to delays. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off. And for UPS shipping, add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
When traffic
No
hits,
traffic getting through in either direction.
the Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
Even the bridge over 75 is being held.
Your source for Atlanta's traffic.
Out of Spaghetti Junction along 285 westbound and a crash on Peachtree Boulevard, 141 southbound before 285.
Brought to you by the Coolray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hi, I'm Glenn Burns. As a meteorologist for over 40 years, I've seen how weather impacts our homes. That's why I chose windows that withstand our weather extremes and keep my family comfortable. I picked North Georgia replacement windows for my home, and I recommend them for yours. Their Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows are beautiful, and they're energy efficient. Plus, I know my windows will stay tight and true no matter the forecast.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
The foods we eat can be downright bad for our health. This is Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've been teaching the truth about real bread. Not the stuff you buy at the store. I'm talking real bread made with freshly milled flour. When you buy bread from the store, take a look at the ingredients. Enriched flour means that the nutritious bran and germ has been removed to improve the shelf life. Then a few B vitamins and iron are added back to replace the multitude of nutrients lost. That's not enrichment in my book. And today, that label may even read contains bioengineered food ingredients. Food should never be bioengineered. At Bread Beckers in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real bread loaded with fiber and nutrients. A delicious, healthy, affordable solution that can improve your health and change your life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson. You wouldn't trust Mac with a jack to fix your home's sinking foundation problem, would you? I certainly wouldn't. Serious issues need serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, so are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Don't ignore cracking bricks and concrete or boat walls. You could be ignoring foundation problems. AquaGuard Foundation Solutions knows these signs could lead to a reduction in your home's value. Visit aquaguard.net today to book your free inspection. Remember,
AquaGuard. It's your money. Get it sooner. All you need is direct deposit with a checking or savings account at Coosa Valley Credit Union. This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union. Not only can you get your money sooner, but we believe in kinder banking where you deal with real people in person. So come see us.
A company that you trust. Who comes to mind? Ragsdale has been a part of our home for years. They've been my go-to for a new HVAC system, blown-in installation, and electrical work that makes life more simple. They're on time and work with my busy schedule. Right now, get up to $1,700 off a brand new Carrier home comfort system and enjoy Ragsdale's own trusted 15-year parts and labor warranty. Learn why they have a 4.9 Google rating. Start at ragsdaleair.com. Ragsdale, the name I know you can trust.
You may not agree with him, but he tells you the truth. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Welcome back. It's Eric Erickson here. I have a TV show recommendation for you, and it's a little bit of a wild card for some of you who aren't fans of the genre or maybe even the series in which it's based on. But Disney Plus has a TV show called Andor. It is one of the best TV shows. Now, you have to understand, it is set in the Star Wars universe. But it's not about the Jedi and Darth Vader and all that. It is a grown-up spy drama, political intrigue. It is so well done. And the final 3 episodes dropped last night for the series. It's only a 2-season story. It's actually really, really well done, captivating. Yes, it's set in the Star Wars universe. Yes, there are robots and spaceships and things like that, but it's just you can pull back from that if you're capable. It's such a compelling television show. They did a remarkably good job with it. Disney Plus it's probably the best Star Wars thing Disney has done, but take out the Star Wars and it is a compelling, captivating, engaging television show. Just really, really, really good. The last 3 episodes were some of the best storytelling put to film in a while, and I can't wait to see these last 3 episodes that dropped last night. I was going to stay up and watch them, but had a little bit too much fun last night. Got back to my hotel room very late and fell asleep on the couch, and next thing I knew it was like 2 a.m. and had to actually go climb it. I had a fun night last night, but nonetheless, you should go watch Andor, Disney Plus. By the way, I see that HBO is going back to HBO Max for its app instead of calling it Max, which is always stupid. Now, something not stupid, something smart is Omaha Steaks. Memorial Day is coming up. Do you have plans for Memorial Day? You know, we oftentimes go to the beach. We're not this year. I don't think we're going to be able to afford to get the beach house in Hilton Head like we normally would. We've been paying off debts, but we would take like a big box of Omaha Steaks with us and grill out. And I'm still going to do it. And right now, everything is 50% off site-wide at Omaha Steaks. You can get steaks, you can get the smash burgers, you can get gourmet jumbo franks. Go to Omaha Steaks right now. The entire site is 50% off. Prepared meals, the steaks, the seafood, the chicken, the desserts, everything. And then at checkout, put Eric in, E-R-I-C-K, as your promo code, and you're going to get an extra $35 off. Minimum order required. It's a great value for Memorial Day. You can get their steaks. They're hand cut by butchers. They're aged for up to 30 days or more. You can get premium cuts. The New York strips are fantastic. The bacon wrap fillets. OmahaSteaks.com. Use Eric as your promo code at checkout for an extra $35 off. It's already site-wide 50% off. OmahaSteaks.com. E-R-I-C-K. Eric is your promo code at checkout. Get deliciousness delivered to your door from Omaha Steaks in time for Memorial Day.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor, and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. It's happening now in Newton County. The search for a teenager considered armed and dangerous. The boy is on the run after allegedly killing his stepdad.
The Newton County Sheriff's Office says it started when deputies found 41-year-old David Gay shot to death inside his home on Avery Drive. They later determined his stepson, 16-year-old Jaden Daniel, allegedly carried out that crime. He fled from the home in an SUV belonging to Gay. It was found at Denny Dobbs Park in Covington with no one inside. The agency says it's issued arrest warrants for the teen. Anyone who knows where he is should call 911. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
81 degrees in Atlanta. Watching for more pop-up showers and storms this afternoon. Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. Atlanta police are working to learn more about a shooting along Hank Aaron Drive that leaves an 11-year-old boy in critical condition. So far, investigators are not saying what led to the shooting or if there are any suspects. DeKalb County CEO responds to claims the county isn't working with low-income residents to help them pay water bills. Lorraine Cochran Johnson says the county is owed more than $100 million from delinquent bills.
We cannot help you if you do not present yourself and you do not substantiate your condition.
She says they have started disconnections of some customer service, but only after multiple attempts to contact them about their overdue bill. Earlier this year, the county voted to raise water rates by 10% annually over the next decade. Take a close look at what you're paying when you check out at the grocery store. Sherry Preston reports on a new investigation of Kroger from Consumer Reports.
The investigation of Kroger stores found discrepancies between what many sale items were marked on the shelves compared to what people actually paid at checkout. Tags were outdated, most by about 10 days, Consumer Reports says. The result, shoppers ended up paying far more for what they thought were discounted items. Kroger says it's working to address any situation when they intentionally fell short of shoppers' expectations.
Schools in Metro Atlanta and across the country are warning parents about the Chromebook challenge. In the viral trend on TikTok, kids jam paper clips or pencils into the USB ports of their school-issued laptops, causing them to catch fire.
We've had more than 100 Chromebooks, I believe, damaged.
Tim Waller is with the Greenville County, South Carolina School District. Gwinnett County schools say this behavior will not be tolerated. They've disciplined more than 30 students so far. It is 2:02. This news is sponsored by Brett Beckers. Up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
It's Eric Erickson here. Every single day now, I deal with a malicious request to click a link. My daughter the other day got a text message some of you have probably gotten. Click on it and pay your toll, and it's just a scam. All these things keep happening. They're preying upon the young, senior citizens, and you and me. But there's good news. Vision Computer is here to help you. If you have their managed service, you're never alone, and in just 15 seconds, expert tech support is at your fingertips, ready to protect you from online threats, scams, and computer problems. And you don't have to take my word for it. We're a Vision Computer household, but they've got thousands of 5-star reviews beyond my household reviews, but I'd give them 5 stars too. They've got thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews because they're simply the best. Call them at 404-COMPUTE today or visit them online at visioncomputers.com, because when it comes to your security, you can't afford to wait. Vision will take care of you. Tell them I sent you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
When someone's AC is on the fritz, drains are clogged, or wall outlets are sparking, Castile Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical never asks, how soon do you need it fixed? You know why? Because no one in recorded history has ever said, oh, take your time, just whenever you can get to it. We just assume, how fast can you get here will always be the answer. So Castile will be there same day, and we won't leave until you're 100% satisfied. See? Sometimes it's good to assume. It gets your AC fixed fast. Book today at CastileAir.com.
It is 2:05, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. In the 24-hour traffic center, it's Alex Williams.
Better news in Clayton County. Left lane crash just cleared. All lanes are back open. 75 northbound Forest Parkway exit 237. Those delays from Terra Boulevard will start to improve. Also, the construction zone 985 south in Hall County at H.F. Reed Industrial, that as well has cleared. Downtown, the brake lights are filling in for the afternoon, starting southbound, south of the 85-400 merge as you travel 75-85 south down toward I-20, and right lane construction cleared into Cab 20 east near Wesley Chapel. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly to mostly cloudy through this afternoon. Watching for pop-up showers and thunderstorms. High 81. Lows tonight in the mid-60s. Finally drying out tomorrow, but heating up. Partly cloudy. High 87. Highs on Friday in the upper 80s to low 90s.
81 in East Point, 75 in Waleska, and 80 in Duluth. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome. It is the third hour here, the Eric Erickson Show nationwide. The phone number 877-973-7425. If you want to be on the program, if you text the word data, D-A-T-A, text that word to 33777. You can get a discount on the show notes, so you've got all the links to all the stuff you need and want from the show. By the way, I got to say real quick, I got a note from my team that they're seeing people and they're like texting data to 33777, as in they're using the phone number 33777, and then what they're texting to that phone number is data to 33777, not just the word data. All you got to do is send the word data, D-A-T-A, just data, send that word to the phone number 33777, and you'll get the link back. Now, we got to move on to the media accountability phase of the program because as we get closer and closer to the Jake Tapper book coming out and the Alex Thompson book, listen, I'm not going to dissuade any of you that Tapper, Thompson, they didn't cover the issue sufficiently. Whatever, people's minds are made up. It doesn't matter. But the fact of the matter is that now that their book is coming out, you do finally have members of the media asking questions, but to a degree, they're asking the wrong question. And I do think as well that that Tapper and Thompson are asking some of the right questions, but some of the wrong questions. I've got an embargoed copy of the book apparently coming on Friday. I'm fascinated to read it. But I want to begin with a couple things. First, let's go to Cassie Hunt on CNN being interviewed or interviewing Chuck Schumer.
I really do want to ask you about something that has been breaking out of CNN. Our Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson have written a book called Original Sin, and they call it a cover-up of Biden's health and his cognition and his fitness, quite frankly, to be president of the United States. You sat next to Biden in the Oval Office February 27th 2024, just a handful of months before the president took that debate stage. And it was later reported that you and other Democratic leaders were talking before the debate about having a plan. You and Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama. I understand you later denied that that ever happened. But I am curious, I'm interested to know whether the man that you saw sitting there on that couch on that day, you were in there, you saw him up close and personal. Did you really not have any idea that he was not fit to serve a second term?
Casey, we're looking forward. We have the largest Medicaid cut in front of us. We have the whole federal
you're
government
facing all
at
of this
risk.
because you lost a presidential election. And is
Look.
that not Joe Biden's responsibility for deciding to run again?
We're looking forward.
That's it?
That's it.
All right.
Wow, that he doesn't want to answer. So now here comes Chuck Todd, who had been with NBC along with Casey Hunt. He's now freelancing. He's on CNN. Listen to this.
He is among the people that are responsible for this. The leaders of the Democratic Party, the staff of the White House. And I have to say, I find everybody now talking to these authors, get out of here. Go home. You're part of the problem. Now you tell us. So I find, the reason why the Democratic Party has less credibility today. Here's an unpopular president, and the Democratic Party has a worse rating than the Republican Party with this catastrophic governance that we've seen over the last 120 days. And yet, why is the Democratic Party in worse shape? Because of this distrust, because of this, frankly, what the public feels as if the party leadership let them down and let this happen. He's as responsible as anybody else. He was a leader in the party. He could have said something sooner, and he didn't.
But I want to say something here, and I mean this respectfully. You guys in the media, Chuck, y'all are also, I think, part of the problem. Y'all own this as well. You gave at NBC Jen Psaki a job on MSNBC. Joe Scarborough, you will recall, started his show one day a while back during the Biden, before the CNN debate, that this was the sharpest, best Joe Biden ever. And F you if you can't handle it. That's what he said. F you if you can't handle it. You had MSNBC on-air talent vouching for Biden, using the term cheap fakes, claiming people were being deluded. And here's the thing. They're now beginning to pivot, Democrats are, to, well, he was fine through 2022. If you'll recall, I took a trip up to D.C. in 2022 with Charlie and Philip. I met with reporters at ABC. I met with reporters from Politico. I met with reporters from NBC. I met with a reporter from the New York Times, and all of them separately said the New York Times was doing a story about Joe Biden. It would drop after the 2022 election. Everybody at the time assumed a Republican wipeout of the Democrats, and it would be essentially saying that Joe Biden is to blame. There's something wrong with him, and he doesn't need to run for a second term. And then the Democrats didn't have the bad midterm they were expecting, and so they didn't run it. And now the Democrats and members of the media say, well, he was fine until after 22, which is not true, because Americans themselves knew there was something off with Joe Biden before he was even elected. And in 2021, they knew there was something wrong with Joe Biden, and the media covered for Joe Biden. And you know and I know damn well, if he got reelected instead of Trump winning, they would still be covering for him. They would still be protecting him. And now what's so baffling to me is the members of the media are like, we were lied to. They covered it up. They didn't tell us, except the American people knew it. The American people could see it. The American people had the concern. And what did the Democrats do? What did the reporters do? What did the press corps do? They denounced the American people. They attacked the American people. They criticized the American people. They said they were deluded by Fox News. They said they were deluded by cheap fakes on the internet. They said they were deluded by Twitter. It was the American people who were not deluded. It was the press corps that was. It was the press corps that was protective of Joe Biden. And you know and I know that Brian Stelter, Oliver Darcy, CNN, the New York Times, all of these people who cover the media, they would be all over it if Fox News had been protective of a president's mental and physical decline. But because it's MSNBC that led the media in protecting Joe Biden, there's no accountability there. They're all friends. They're all friends together. It's progressives in the press protecting each other from accountability. Now, Jake Tapper is beginning to promote the book with Alex Thompson. He was on with John Berman on CNN.
Look, and you bring up President Obama because there was a moment at that fundraiser, and that fundraiser really was a key moment for a lot of people in this history, which you so brilliantly document. But President Biden walked down to the end of the stage at this fundraiser for a moment. You can see it right there, and seemed to stare a little blankly into the crowd, and then President Obama tugged on him. You saw that tug and led him off the stage. So you just said you spoke to a lot of people who were there for that. What else did they tell you about it?
Well, Obama's side of that story is he wasn't sure what was going on, but he just wanted to get out of there, and he wasn't going to get out of there without Biden, so he grabbed him, and it was more just his impatience than anything else. But other people who were there, and we should note that the Biden White House falsely, when people showed that clip and asked what was going on, said it was a cheap fake. They did this all the time when there was video that seemed to show Biden acting in an odd or unusual, seemingly out of it way. They would call it a cheap fake. It was not fake. It was actual video. And people in the arena who did not see the horrifying scene behind the stage, but in the arena, Congresswoman Annie Kuster, Jon Favreau, former Obama chief speechwriter, and others, just from that event and Biden walking towards the edge of the stage, thought, oh my God, something is wrong here. He's not going to make it.
Okay. But again, and this is very important, the American people actually knew. The American people actually saw it. The American people actually, they knew. The American people knew. And so to have the people in the press say otherwise, I think that's a problem. Now, Jake Tapper was asked about, and I don't have the audio of it, but he was asked about covering the Biden decline. And let me just read you what he said. I think some of the criticism is fair. Of me, certainly. I'm not going to speak for anyone else. But knowing then what I know now, I look back on my coverage during the Biden years, and I did cover some of those issues, but not enough. I look back on it with humility. Look, when we learned through our reporting is that starting around 2019, 2020, there were two Bidens. There was a Biden that was perfectly workable, serviceable, seemed fine, and then there was a non-functioning one that couldn't come up with names of top aides, that would lose his train of thought to an alarming degree, and that non-functioning Biden reared his head increasingly over and over. It really seemed to exacerbate and got worse in 23 and 24. And what Alex Thompson and I, were able to uncover through the reporting, almost all with just Democratic insiders and operatives, and almost all of which only happened after the election because they wouldn't be candid until the election, it stunned us, it shocked us. And look, while it's very important, and I'm not dismissing the coverage of Biden tripping on stage or falling off his bike, that was obviously indicative of something serious that was going on. I think what we learned about the non-functioning Biden rearing his head increasingly, not being able to come up with the name of George Clooney, not being able to come up with the name of top aides of the White House, I think that really reveals something even more significant, something even more disturbing about the president that was not what we, American people, should expect and be able to demand. Yeah, but again, and Jake and I are friends. I appreciate him acknowledging that he did not cover it as sufficiently as he should have, looking back on it with humility, that he should have covered it more, should have dug deeper at the time, that it clearly went back to 2019 and got worse over time. But again, take, for the sake of argument, take Tapper and Thompson out of this. The rest of the media, and in particular the New York Times, CNN, or MSNBC, and the Washington Post, the fact checkers of the Washington Post, the American people could see it for themselves. They saw it get worse over time. And media outlets, fact checkers, were insisting that they were just being deluded by the internet, by Twitter, by Fox News, when really it was the media protecting Biden. If the American press corps wants to recover a level of credibility, they're going to need to be honest, and they can't bring themselves to be honest, frankly. They can't bring themselves to honestly admit that they got played. They can't bring themselves to admit that they were the part of the problem. It's one thing for people on CNN or elsewhere to say, Chuck Todd or Chuck Schumer, you're part of the problem. It's one thing for them to do that, but what about themselves? Who in the media is going to say to the media, you guys were part of the problem because you attacked the people who pointed it out? It wasn't just the Democrats using the phrase cheap fakes. It was the media parroting the Democrats using the phrase cheap fakes. It was the Washington Post that ran a story about the cheap fakes. It was Nicole Wallace at MSNBC that covered it, and Jen Psaki, who claimed to have been in the White House to be able to deny the issues about Joe Biden. It was Morning Joe insisting that this is the smartest, sharpest Joe Biden ever, and F you if you don't believe it. These people covered. Where is the accountability for the American press corps? Until the American people get accountability from the press corps over the press's own coverage, when the American people knew the truth and the media told them to stop believing their lying eyes, distrust in the media is only going to fester. If the media is so worried about the trust from the American public, the media itself is going to have to do better at cleaning and airing its dirty laundry and recognizing that itself, they screwed up. And they don't want to do that. And because they don't want to do that, there will be no accountability. There will be no reform. There will be no renewed trust. I appreciate Jake Tapper acknowledging he should have done better and certainly missed parts of it and wish he had done more in hindsight. But where is that admission from the rest of the press? Where is that admission from the press corps that now wants to blame Democratic Party officials for lying to them without also recognizing they too were part of the lie, and that if they really were duped, why were they duped and why were not the American people duped?
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
221 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Volume picking up through Doorville on 285 eastbound. The inner loop starting just before Peachtree Boulevard over to I-85 Spaghetti Junction, with 85 north getting a tad slower up into Norcross. And seeing some volume downtown, 75-85 southbound from 17th Street as you make the ride past North Avenue. No crashes in the way, just the afternoon volume. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It's the WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. This hour's keyword is talk. TALK. Go to the WSB Radio app or WSBradio.com/cash for your chance to win. Again, that keyword is talk. TALK. Join me live at 3 for the Von Hessler Doctrine, and I'll have your next keyword and chance to win at 5.
Now is the season to have AquaGuard Foundation Solutions save your crawl space from the bad things down there and make the air you breathe in your home healthier with a crawl space encapsulation. Simply set up a free inspection at aquaguard.net. Remember, AquaGuard.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place, you know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in will work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on Portfolio X-Ray or click on Full Retirement Plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Hey y'all, Belinda Skelton for Four Seasons Home Care, and I'm not going to cry in this commercial, I hope. As many of you know, I lost both my parents recently, but I am so thankful they were able to finish their lives at home where they wanted to be. It's all because of the incredible caregivers who came to see them every day. I am so grateful to Four Seasons Home Care. This is a real family-owned company that vets and hires every single one of their caregiving specialists. They don't have contractors. They're not some national corporation. They are simply the best here in Georgia. And a lot of you have asked me about my journey and if home care is right for your aging parents. I'll tell you what I tell them. Call Four Seasons Home Care and just start the conversation. It's a 100% free call that can change everything. Google Four Seasons Home Care Atlanta. That's Four Seasons Home Care Atlanta.
We've all got one, and there's never just one thing on it. Your home improvement to-do list. Trust the Plus. Painting Plus. The Plus covers everything on your list. Siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and of course, painting.
Hi, I'm Charlie, the owner of Painting Plus. We do it all, and we do it right. Trust the Plus family of businesses for everything on your list.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus. Siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
At Butler Lexus of South Atlanta, buying a car is more than a transaction. It's a 5-star experience because they value you. Enjoy personalized offers and luxury perks, all designed with you in mind. Visit ButlerLexusSouthAtlanta.com or call 800-NEW-LEXUS today. Butler Lexus South Atlanta, the standard of amazing.
Get Eric's daily show prep email. Text DATA to 33777 and you'll be in the know.
Welcome back. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. So the Republicans, you should know, particularly in the Justice Department, they are saying that they are going to open a review of the pardons that Joe Biden issued on his way out the door. They want to look into those pardons. That's all well and good for the administration to do this, but they can't undo the pardons. And you need to know, don't buy into false hope. And there are con artists, charlatans out there claiming that, yes, actually through this one simple magic trick, this administration can undo the pardons of the prior administration. It was the auto pin. The auto pin can be undone. It's not true. I know there are people who are going to tell you it's true. I know some of you will believe those people because they're telling you what you want to hear, but it's not true. You're not going to undo those pardons. It's actually well documented, going back to the 15 and 1600s in English common law, that the executive himself does not need to sign a pardon as long as it is his intent to pardon. And some people will say, well, how do we know it was his intent? How do you know it wasn't? Good luck proving it wasn't his intent. You're not going to undo the pardons. This is like me checking my wife's purchases in hindsight, knowing that I'm not going to be able to get her to return the purchase. I just want to check in on it. That it's something that plays to the base, but it's actually there's no there. You need to know that there is no there. So don't expect this White House to be fighting the good fight. We talked about the president's tax cut plan. Americans for Prosperity is mobilizing an army of activists around the country to get members of Congress to support and get this plan done and hopefully make the tax cuts permanent. They support common sense conservative solutions across the country down to the local level. They would love to have you involved with them in fighting for those common sense conservative solutions. If you go to AmericansForProsperity.org today, you can sign up and join the team. They've got chapters in just about every single state. I'm on their board of advisors. They are a great group. They turn you into a great conservative activist. They make you effective. They keep you informed just so you know what's going on in Washington and even in your state house and local government. Go to AmericansForProsperity.org today. Americans for Prosperity would love to have you involved in fighting the good fight for common sense conservative solutions across.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top story, a positive trend. Drug overdoses are down in the U.S., including here in Georgia.
Since late 2023, overdose deaths have steadily declined each month, and according to new data from the CDC, there were 30,000 fewer drug overdose deaths in 2024. So what's behind the decline? There are several possible factors, including increased availability of overdose-reversing drugs like Narcan.
Suck it up that nostril. 151 Narcan administered.
Other possible reasons for the decline: expanded addiction treatment and shifts in how people use drugs. Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Happening now in Newton County, the search for a teenager considered armed and dangerous. Deputies are searching for 16-year-old Jaden Daniel, who's accused of shooting and killing his stepfather, 41-year-old David Gay. The boy fled the scene on Avery Drive in Covington in an SUV belonging to Gay. It was later found at Denny Dobbs Park. Anyone with information should call 911. 2 units on an upper floor are damaged in a fire at the Madison at Brookhaven Apartments on Claremont Road. DeKalb Fire Captain Jason Daniels says a nearby water main break did not impact the crew's efforts to extinguish the flames.
Fortunately, there were no issues with the water at that location. We had several crews on scene very quickly that were able to extinguish the flames.
The Red Cross is helping families who need assistance after the fire. Theodore Hertzberg is sworn in today as interim U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia. It comes a day after he was appointed by U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi. Hertzberg previously served as an assistant U.S. Attorney for nearly 10 years. His career with the Justice Department started in Savannah. He relocated to Atlanta in 2018. It is 2:32. This news is sponsored by FGA Roofing.
If you've been taught that all bread is unhealthy, I'm here to tell you not if it's real bread. Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. If you're struggling with weight gain, high cholesterol, constipation, even warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, come visit us at the Bread Becker store in Woodstock, where we have taught thousands of customers that real bread might be their healthy solution. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of real whole grains and bread. I discovered that store-bought bread has had most of the nutrients in the grain removed during milling, and yes, even packages labeled 100% whole wheat. Make a healthy eating change in your life at Bread Beckers in Woodstock. We'll show you how bread, but only real bread, might be the answer to your family's physical ills. The Bread Beckers. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson here. Do your windows and doors stick? Are you noticing cracks in the drywall or the brickwork? You might have a big problem. Serious issues need the serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, as are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
This is Andy Harris, President of Coosa Valley Credit Union, with a personal invitation for you to join our newest branches in Woodstock, Canton, or Dallas. We've been in business in Northwest Georgia for 70 years, and we're proud to now offer kinder banking to Cobb, Cherokee, and Paulding County, where you'll always speak to a real person. With 11 locations, Coosa Valley Credit Union is always local and nearby. Experience kinder banking and stop in a Coosa Valley Credit Union branch near you.
Dave Baker here. If the temperature inside your house doesn't fit with the temperature outside your house, you need to call Coolray Heating and Cooling. In May, you can get your HVAC system tuned up for only $79, or you can get up to $2,250 in rebates with the purchase of a complete Carrier comfort system, plus get free attic insulation. For comfort that lasts all year, visit Coolray.com to schedule your appointment today. Coolray and Carrier. Turn to the experts.
At 2:34, Alex Williams in the traffic center.
Watching the brake lights fill in for the afternoon commute through downtown, starting southbound, sluggish from the 85-400 merge, but gets slower into Midtown from 17th Street down toward North Avenue. Some northbound delays from University Avenue up to Freedom Parkway. Heads up on the south side, got some police activity on Jonesboro Road right at I-285, blocking multiple lanes in both directions right around the exit ramp from 285 east there onto Jonesboro Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly to mostly cloudy for this afternoon with pop-up showers and thunderstorms, high 81.
It's 81 now in Ackworth, 79 in Snellville, and 80 in Fairburn. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, even when it isn't popular. You're listening to The Erick Erickson Show.
My fellow Americans, welcome back. It is Erick Erickson here across the nation. If you text the word Erick, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777, you can get the live stream, the show notes, the podcast, the social media link, so much more. I gotta just here at the end. I did an event last night at my favorite restaurant, Table in Maine. Hadn't mentioned it on air. It was a private event. I didn't want people showing up who weren't invited. My apologies. But so there's a company in Atlanta called Swing King Simulators. The reasonable prices I paid. This isn't payola pluggle. I paid the full price. They didn't give me a discount. I just want to say, for those of you in the metro Atlanta area, if you're doing an event, this company, Swing King Simulators, they put in a outdoor golf simulator, and it was in a big, like, bubble inflatable thing, so you didn't have stray balls, and the rain didn't get out. It was incredible. We had so much fun. We played Augusta National. We played Quail Hollow. We played the Waste Management. It was incredible. It was a ton of fun. Swing Kings is the name. In fact, if you text Eric to 33777, look on my Instagram feed, you'll find their company. If you're doing an event in Atlanta, you want to get a golf simulator. They do indoor and outdoor, and it was fun. It was so much fun. And thank you to Table in Maine for just an incredible time last night. I really appreciate it. So I've got there's a large group of people that I never get to see that I want to see. I don't get to spend time with. Not everybody could come, and we were all able to get together, and it was a good time last night. So the golf simulator, that was fun. I am not good, but I had a blast. And they bring left-handed. They even bring left-handed clubs for the psychopaths and right-handed clubs for the normal people, and everything. It was fun. So now I got to move on, because I got to add, I want to talk about this tweet. This is from Amanda Goodall. She's the CEO of Edge Pulse. I don't know anything about her. She's in job management, things like that. Just let me read you this tweet. 5 years of silence just got dumped on credit reports. Student loan delinquencies exploded from 0.8% to 8.04% in the first quarter 2025. Not new defaults, just an end of a reporting freeze. Now we see the damage in the latest quarterly report, and it's not just student debt. Mortgage delinquencies jumped from 0.92% to 1.22%. HELOC delinquencies rose from 0.52% to 0.88%. Credit card delinquencies hit 7.04%, up from 6.86%. Auto loans up 2.94%, up from 2.78%. Balances fell, but people couldn't pay. And while that's happening, total household debt hit $18.2 trillion with a T dollars. She says, I advise in this space, and the real story hasn't even started yet. Total household debt increased $167 billion to $18.2 trillion. Increasingly with auto loans, people are not paying them off. They're defaulting, and lenders are taking the cars back. There's been a massive increase in repos for numerous reasons, and consumers are even asking how to just give their cars back. Auto loan balances declined by $13 billion and stand at $1.64 trillion with a T dollars. Only the second time since 2011 quarter two that auto loan balances have dropped from one quarter to the next. That $13 billion drop, repossessions, charge-off, fewer approvals, not financial health. These are not good signs. It's problems. And there are people who don't understand. There are lots of ways to stay out of the problem. You know, Dave Ramsey is getting dragged online because of his advice on a mortgage and down payments and how much you should save. And there are a lot of young people saying this is unreasonable. This is unreasonable. Look at the median, or look at the average price of a home. You know, an average price of a home and a median price of a home are different things. You would look at the median price, but also there are a lot of people these days who do think that they get their job and they get to eat out for lunch every day. They don't need to take lunch to the office. They don't need to save money, and they think they should be able to buy out of college a $400,000 home in a very nice area. They shouldn't have to commute. All of these things. People's expectations are kind of out of control right now, and people are imposing on themselves high financial burdens. And, you know, I hear more and more people today say Dave Ramsey's model is unreasonable. Now, there are some things like Dave's views on credit cards, like my life that I live and the way I travel and conduct my business. I can't go credit card free. But when it comes to budgeting and buying houses and things like that, he's not wrong. People just have higher expectations right now than what they should. And people are coming out of college thinking they should be making more money than they're actually able to make. You know, I've told you guys this. My kids' class in college had two different guys, one from Chick-fil-A, another from an IT company, come in to talk to them. And both of them said that they want to be out of the gate, that do not expect to get a pay raise. If you come to our company, don't expect to get a promotion, not a pay raise. Don't expect to get a promotion or a pay raise. In the first 2 years, you'll get a cost of living adjustment, but you're not going to get big pay raises. You're not going to get promotions in your first 2 years. They need to see who you are. Stop making demands on your employers. And both guys separately said they've started doing this because the people coming out of college now are so entitled and have such grand expectations, the amount of money they're going to make, their promotions, etc. And they're getting into workforces. They're making unreasonable demands. That they're not trying to be an employee. They're trying to have a say in the company. And they're like, stop it. You are not a manager of the company. You're not an owner of the company. You're an employee. Stop expecting things. Now, the Wall Street Journal has a story here. Get this. Elijah Rios won't graduate from high school until next year, but he already has a job offer that pays $68,000 a year out of high school. Rios, 17 years old, is a junior taking welding classes at Father Judge, a Catholic high school in Philadelphia that works closely with companies looking for workers in the skilled trades. Employers are dealing with a shortage of such workers as baby boomers retire. They have increasingly begun courting high school students like Rios. A hiring strategy, they say, is likely to become even more crucial in the coming years. Employers, ranging from the local transit system to submarine manufacturers, make regular visits to Father Judge's welding classrooms every year, bringing branded swag and pitching students on their workplaces. When Rios graduates next year, he plans to work as a fabricator at a local equipment maker for nuclear recycling and other sectors, a job that pays $24 an hour, plus regular overtime and paid vacations. Sometimes it's a little overwhelming, like this company wants you. The company wants you, says Rios, who grew up in the Philadelphia neighborhood of Kensington around drug addicts and homelessness, and says he was determined to build a better life for himself. It honestly feels like I'm an athlete getting all the attention from these pro teams. Increased efforts to recruit high schoolers into professions such as plumbing, electrical work, and welding have helped spur a revitalization of shop classes in districts. More businesses are teaming up with high schools to enable students to work part-time, earning money as well as academic credit. More employers are showing up at high school career days and turning to creative recruiting strategies as well. Employers say that the skilled trades become more tech-infused. They anticipate doing even more recruitment at an early age because they need workers who are comfortable programming and running computer diagnostics. I'm not looking to hire the guy I used to have 20 years ago, says Bob Walker, founder of Global Affinity, the Bristol, Pennsylvania-based manufacturer who offered Rios the job. The equipment he uses is highly advanced, including a $1.7 million steel laser cutter, and he says he needs tech-savvy workers to operate it. You got a kid who's about to get out of high school in another year, going to make $70,000 roughly with regular overtime, paid vacation, with benefits. It's not a bad thing. And his pay is going to go up regularly. Now, it is true that people with college degrees have lower unemployment than people without. But people with trade skills are never without work. Welders, plumbers, electricians. There are a lot of kids who don't want to go to college. You steer them towards these sort of technical vocations. You have high school programs. You know, I remember, so when I left my high school, graduated from public high school in rural Louisiana. To this day, I believe, I've been told, I think this is still true, I got a bigger academic scholarship and went further away from home to go to college than anybody else. But you know what? There were guys in my high school who there was a partnership program where they learned welding in shop class, and they would go across the street. There was a Votech community college across the street. They would learn welding skills. And essentially at my high school, you were either, you got out of high school and maybe you went to college. A lot of people didn't. They went to work for the state in the prison, or they went to work for Exxon, which was a big plant. But a lot of them, they learned how to weld, and they got great jobs out of high school. They never had to go to college. Some of them went to work as welders for companies that did offshore welding. Those companies then paid for them to get their college degrees, and they've had great lives. You don't necessarily need to go straight to college. I want my kids to go to college, that they want to do things that require college degrees, but not everybody does. When you couple this with the first story about debt, student loan debt, defaulting debt, putting off payments, car loans and stuff, the lack of financial skills, the entitlement mentality from a lot of people who want a better lifestyle than they can afford and they're resentful of it, we've got real problems in the country, but there are real solutions. There are very real solutions involving good education, and not even college education, just a good education and a technical background. It's kind of wild. I think from my vantage point, it's just wild to see these disparities and discrepancies, but a lot of it does come back to the issue of what's your focus going to be? What's your focus? What are you going to do? How are you going to manage? What are you going to tell your kids? Debt is a choice, and you know what? I'm someone who made those terrible choices in college with a credit card and stuff like that. Thankfully, I learned my lesson and have dissuaded my kids from making the same mistakes. But good financial management. You know, my kids in their school, they're required to take Dave Ramsey's classes. Their senior year, they go through a finance program. It's based on Dave Ramsey's program. And it's paid dividends for my oldest. My son will be getting into it in 2 years, just on how to budget and thinking about the future and being leery of taking on debt and saving your money to pay with cash. I feel bad for people who don't go through those programs. We're headed towards a bad place if the economy turns, and a lot of people are going to lose their shirts. Save your money. Save your money. And pay your bills. Don't get in over your head. And if you're a kid listening right now and you're in high school, if you want to go to college and get something useful. Don't get a women and gender studies degree. Go learn accounting. Go learn finance. Go learn engineering. You don't have to, you don't need the art degree. I mean, I did political science and history because I was going to law school. If you want to go to law school, do something like that. But otherwise, get you a college degree that's going to teach you a skill set, or learn technical skills in high school, welding, plumbing, electrical. Be an apprentice. And don't be upset about not making a ton of money at first. Learn the skill, and then you'll make money. People forget that stuff. Now, before I get out of here, I got to tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. You can get 3 of them. You can save $200. Get them for less than $200. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com. It's an air purifier. It gets rid of pollen and dust. It gets rid of pet dander. It kills 99.9% of bacteria and viruses. When the air passes through, it generates plasma, touches the bacteria and viruses, kills them. It generates ozone that wipes out odors. No odor can stand up to it. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm just works. It's small enough you can hold it in your hand. You can keep one in a travel bag. I do. When I travel with it, I've used it in cars. I've used it in rental cars where people smoked in the car. You can plug it up with a USB cord, or you can plug it directly into the wall. It just wipes out the odors. It just works. EdenPureDeals.com. Eden like the Garden of Eden, pure as the driven snow. EdenPureDeals.com. When you go to that website, you'll see a discount code box on the front. Put in ERIC3, ERICK, the number 3, no space, ERIC3, at EdenPureDeals.com. Save $200. Get 3 of them.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
250 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. New trouble, Henry County, McDonough, 75 northbound, just north of Highway 155, exit 216. It is a crash, knocking out the right lane, causing some delays back toward Locust Grove. Also on the south side, police activity still blocking most of Jonesboro Road, right around I-285, causing some 285 eastbound outer loop delays trying to ramp on to Jonesboro Road, so be mindful of that. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off, and for UPS shipping, add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
Are you serious? The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
OMG! Oh my goodness!
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 5.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz
on 95.5 WSB.
Y'all, it's Eric. I know as a homeowner, you start seeing the cracks in the wall or the door start sticking. You wonder what's going on. You could have a foundation problem. Engineered Solutions of Georgia is the only foundation repair company in Georgia with licensed engineers on staff providing the highest quality of work. If you got concerns, reach out to them for a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
For many women in our community, support for our physical and mental health feels out of reach.
When your workday is long,
and your budget is tight,
and your village is busy,
and the road between home and help is a 6-lane highway with no crosswalk.
Northside Hospital believes women deserve better.
Northside is rolling up our sleeves and getting to work.
We got your house call.
Heard.
Learn more at northside.com/heard.
When it's time to replace your windows, make sure you have options and get to choose the energy-efficient window that is right for your home, your style, and your budget. Dave Baker here for the only window company I recommend, Nelson Exteriors. With Nelson, you're in charge. Choose from many top-rated window manufacturers like Anderson and MI, all backed by Nelson's worry-free lifetime labor warranty. For your replacement windows, pick the company that's more picky than you. Google Nelson Exteriors.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Motorcycle riders like you are a different breed. You don't just ride your bike, you're obsessed. So if someone causes you to lay your bike down, you need a different kind of attorney, one that understands bikers and their rights. Eric Von Hessler here for my friends at Steel Horse Law, the Stein and Karen Law Group, motorcycle injury lawyers who ride. You can trust them on the road and in the courtroom. Steel Horse Law can help you get back on your feet, medical bills paid, and your case resolved. Trust is everything, and results matter. Free case evaluation at steelhorselaw.com.
Join Eric's army of activists and let your voice be heard. Text ARMY to 33777.
Welcome back. It's Eric Erickson here. Here's your really rich story of the day. This is nonsense. FIFA is facing mounting pressure, according to Politico, about the 2026 World Cup in North America after a top human rights organization said it has, quote-unquote, grave concerns about the Trump administration's border policies affecting the tournament. Human Rights Watch urged FIFA President Gianni Infantino to be prepared to reconsider the hosting decision if the safety of fans and players can't be guaranteed, according to a letter seen by Politico. The 2026 men's tournament will be held in the United States, Canada, and Mexico, and follows politically controversial tournaments in Vladimir Putin's Russia in 2018 and in Qatar in 2022. But as President Trump cracks down on some foreign arrivals, with tourists even detained at the border on minor grounds, the world's premier sporting event now risks being overshadowed again by politics. So now, because you're in a country where you can talk about it without being murdered or pushed out a window in Russia, now it's a concern. In the letter dated May 5, Human Rights Watch Director of Global Initiatives Minky Worden told Infantino that FIFA must establish clear benchmarks and timelines for U.S. immigration policy changes needed to ensure respect for the rights of players, fans, and other participants in the World Cup. The World Football Governing Body anticipates that as many as 6.5 million people could attend the tournament next summer, with another 3.7 million coming for the summer's Club World Cup, which will be held entirely in the United States. The White House has pledged a smooth process for visitors. So these people weren't upset about Russia. They weren't upset about Qatar. But they are upset about the United States. This is entirely political. Human Rights Watch is a left-leaning, Trump-hating organization, and they're suddenly concerned. Spare me. The World Cup is going to be in the greatest country, in a democracy where people do have the right to travel. It is the brokenness of leftist politics that makes them think otherwise. They said jack when it was in Qatar or Russia. FIFA is a corrupt organization to begin with. It's like the IOC. At least here, people are going to have a fun time. I mean, you couldn't even have a beer in Qatar at the World Cup. Here, you'll be able to have lots of them. This level of partisan derangement, it's not even Trump derangement syndrome. It's America hating. The only time they don't hate America is when their left wing is in charge of it. If it was any other Republican president, they would have the exact same concerns. They would have the exact same delusions. They would have the exact same fears, but it gets even more amplified because of Trump. It's just, it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. They don't care. They do not care. This is all about the brokenness of these people. I'm kind of tired of the nonsense. We're going to have a good World Cup. It's going to be fine. And if these people don't want to come to it, they don't have to come to it. Lots of Americans will be suddenly taking an interest in soccer because it's here. And then we'll move into real football season where people actually really care about a real sport. Spare me the hate mail, friends of mine who love soccer. You know I'm teasing you. It's going to be good. Y'all have a great rest of the day.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
So I have some tentative good news for you.
if you're planning a summer vacation, airfares have started going down. It's not a collapse in airfares, but they are dropping. And hotel